All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council, which is being called to order at 6:04 p.m. on Tuesday, May the 24th, 2022. Madam Clerk, please take roll call.
Dave Abdallah,
Here.
Hassan Ahmad,
Here.
Mo Beydoun, Nancy Breyer,
Here.
Robert Constant,
Here.
Ray Muscat,
Here.
Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next up is our Pledge of Allegiance, and that's going to be led for us by one of our community activists, Mr. Hussein Haj Hassan.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. At this particular point, I'm going to go a little bit off script. If we could take a moment of silence for, obviously news is still coming, but unfortunately there was a mass shooting at a school in Texas. So let's just take a moment of silence, please. Okay. Thank you, and God keep us safe. Next up, we have, on behalf of Access, we have the ASAP Youth Group presentation. If you don't mind coming up to the stage, and they will be giving us a 3-minute presentation. They've put a lot of time into this, and looking forward to this. And thank you, Access, for helping put this together.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Sandy Aknan, and I'm here with my fellow students, faculty, and team members. We are here speaking on behalf of Access' own youth group, ASAP. We're here to talk about the importance of having tobacco retailer companies checks in the city to make sure they are not selling tobacco to minors.
Nearly 1 in 4 Michigan retailers sell to minors. From 2015 to 2020, the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
Sorry about
You got to always talk into the mic, otherwise they won't be able to pick it up.
All right,
Sorry.
sorry about that.
It's green,
Yeah.
All right, should we start? No. All right, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, nearly issued 4,500 fines, warning letters, and tobacco no-sale orders to Michigan tobacco retailers for selling tobacco products to minors.
Michigan is the only state that does not require any form of tobacco retail license. Most states require licenses that cover both traditional tobacco products, including cigarettes, electric cigarettes, and e-cigarettes. All of Michigan's neighbors require statewide tobacco retail license.
Compliance checks reduce confusion. In 2019, federal legislation raised the minimum legal sales age nationwide for all tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, to 21. Michigan law still sets the minimum sales age at 18. Sellers have to follow the federal law, but until Michigan's age is changed, only the FDA could enforce it.
Pub laws. Michigan has some of the harshest minor purchases, use, and prevention laws in the nation. TRL reduces youth accessibility, use, and interaction of tobacco with enforcement of restriction against selling to minors, reducing the need for product use which has little effect on tobacco usage.
Compliance checks save lives. Over time, the prevention of youth initiation will result in lower healthcare costs and overall incidence of tobacco-related illness and death in Michigan.
We are doing important work in our community by spreading awareness about substance use, mental health, and reducing boundaries to accessing life-saving treatment. We appreciate your support, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, ASAP of Access, for your work and initiative. Appreciate it. Next up is our agenda approval.
Council Chair.
Councilman
Yeah, I'd
Wenzel.
like to tell the girls thank you very much for your effort. I know you put a lot into it. And that's something that hits home to me is all these smoke shops. And you can park outside and you can see young people going in and out all day long. And you know they're buying vape products. And if everybody's ever been, I was part of a sting operation with somebody once, and you go in there and most of the products are branded with kid themes, bubblegum flavors, all the stuff that for children. And it's ridiculous that they're allowed to do that, and it's ridiculous that they're allowed to advertise. You can't advertise cigarette smoking or tobacco, but you can advertise these vape things, and it's something should be done about that. I commend you guys for coming out here and doing that. Keeping the word active. Yep, thank you.
And those that know Access, they do a lot of work throughout the community, including a lot of work with our police department and many different departments throughout our city. So they do a lot of great initiatives. Just a great organization for the city of Dearborn, Dearborn Heights. Actually, they're multiple state, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, multiple states. So I appreciate all the work that they do, and I thank you. As a matter of fact, there's a little side note on my end. That was the first grilled cheese I ever tasted in the United States was through Access. So anytime I eat grilled cheese, I always remember Access when I was brand new in the country at 10 years old. So thank you for the grilled cheese. I didn't tip back then.
He probably still does it.
Yeah, I still
do.
do.
He does.
All right. So next up on the agenda is agenda approval.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the agenda for the regular meeting of May 24th as submitted. Support.
Motion made by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair, I do have one.
Go ahead, Councilman.
In light of what's been going on, and my phone's been ringing off the hook for over a week with trash pickup. 652 is the priority waste for $213,465.28. 6-52. I want to pull this off the agenda until they get caught up. I mean, they're not doing a job, and I feel like companies come in here, underbid a job, just so they can get a contract. And now they're not fulfilling their end of the agreement. I got phone calls today, pictures today of yard waste all over the street, bags broken, and this is not a dumping ground. We're paying good money, regardless of what they were the ones that agreed to the contract. They need to hold up their end of the bargain. So I want to pull this until they're put it in some sort of escrow, do whatever we have to do.
Okay. So, Councilman, why don't we do this? Because that's a part of, it's a payment a little bit further in the agenda. Why don't we do this? We'll take that into consideration, and then.
652.
I know. Well, what I'm saying is, once we get to that particular part of the agenda, we'll have a discussion, we'll have a vote on it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll go for that.
So we'll take that into consideration
Okay,
at that point.
So the motion stands as submitted.
Submitted.
And supported by Robert Constant?
Correct.
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
and, I know this is off topic and we're on the agenda approval, and I want the Councilman Muscat to know, I definitely ride the wave on this, but I think this is a payment that we have to,
They have to
pay.
pay.
But I would love, for, the discussion to happen with the mayor and our corporation council to put some type of legal, something into writing, because I know it's new, but we have PTSD, and I'm gonna tell you, they're doing a terrible job. And I know it's new, but I had reached out to the manager at 11:30 PM last night. I actually made him download WhatsApp group chat, and I sent them every single forward that I've received.
Okay. Why don't we keep this until we get to that section, if you don't mind?
Okay.
We'll definitely have a discussion on it. I have no problem with that. Any other discussion items on the agenda approval? Okay. Hearing none, motion made by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilman Constant. There's no other discussion items, correct? Okay. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. That's the Dearborn Heights City Council minutes from May 10th, 2022.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydoun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 10th, 2022 as outlined in 4A.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydoun, supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is, we have recommended motion, item B, I'm sorry. 4B.
Council Chair,
Go ahead, Councilman.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes from the special meeting of May 17, 2022, as outlined in 4-B.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is public hearings and comment on agenda items only. Now, I'm going to clarify, any resident that wants to speak can come up to the podium. You will have 2 minutes to speak. Please state the street, not the address, but just the street that you live on and the city that you live in, of course, your name. You will have 2 minutes on anything that's agenda related.
Council Chair?
Come on. Somebody said Council Chair?
Yeah, if you could just clarify, they don't have to be a resident? They-
No.
Yeah.
Well, okay, anybody in the audience.
Anyone
I'm
in the
sorry.
audience.
Correct, or on Zoom.
Yeah.
And you know what? I promised last time I would let Zoom go first. I'm gonna let you go first, and we'll go back to Zoom.
Let's Zoom. I'm
That was your thing, that was your thing, that's right. Yeah.
Go
See,
ahead.
see, be careful what you asked for. You asked for it last time, now I'm like, no.
It's fair, so let them go
Let,
first.
go. Okay, that was, actually, that was Leslie's recommendation last time, and I'm gonna go ahead and take that into effect. See that? Forgot that you did that. Paybacks, right?
No, there's no one waiting.
Nobody on Zoom. All right, then we'll have our Zoom coordinator, Leslie, go ahead.
My name is Leslie Willis. I live on Annapolis Street in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, 48125. My comment is on agenda item 9A. I just wanted to say thank you all for finally getting this on the agenda and creating a full commission, and the administration for doing it first without the reminder. And I wanted to just make sure I said publicly what I said in an email to you all, which is that our recommendation would be for Najah Janoon, because she is on the Crestwood School Board, and this is one of our initiatives to bridge the gap between all 3 school boards by trying to get representation from every area of Dearborn Heights. And then if not her, Rachel LaPointe, because it would not take much to catch her up, because she comes literally to all meetings. So I just wanted to make sure that was on record, because I did send it to you all in writing.
Sure.
So,
And just for disclosure, as I always ask, when it goes up to the podium, you are a member of the commission.
oh, yes, Vice Chairperson of the Community
Correct.
and Cultural Relations Commission.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for your continuous activism.
Yep, thank you.
Anybody else? Public comments on agenda items? Nobody? Okay. Hearing none. Anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk? I don't see any, but,
No hands are raised on Zoom.
okay. Somebody's connecting the audio, so just to make sure. Okay.
Yeah,
they're on.
just let that person.
Okay, no problem. We'll go ahead and go to the next subject. Next up is item 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair,
Councilman
I
Baydun.
move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the current claims 6-1 through 6-71 as submitted.
Motion made by Councilman Baydun, supported by Councilman Constant. Councilman, I know you had a proposal early on.
Yes.
First of all, before we go to that one, because it looks like that one might be a little bit of a longer conversation, is there any discussion on any other current claims? Okay, hearing none. Councilman, you had a proposal.
Yes, I want to pull 652 in the amount of $213,465.28 until that company gets things right. We're paying for a service that we're not getting. There's no one here that would have a business that would pay somebody for doing nothing, well, or not doing their job properly, okay? I don't care, they're not new anymore. They've been here long enough to know the routes, they know what they're supposed to be doing, and even if they didn't know the routes, to leave bags that are broken in the street full of yard waste is uncalled for. This is getting bad. And, you know, I tried to go with the flow at first, and I was happy that we got rid of GFL, but right now, GFL looks like a 5-star company compared to this.
Spot on.
And I've asked before to bring those people in front of us, and we have not had them here. And until they come here, I am not going to approve any money for them.
Okay, so a little update to the council members, and I know the clerk sent the email for the date. If I'm not mistaken, Madam Clerk, is it June 6th?
June 7th,
7th? Okay.
at
So
6 PM.
Yeah, so I have scheduled Priority Waste to come in and speak to the residents and the council members for a study session. And I know, yes,
That's the next meeting. That'd be the next, so holding this back up for 2 weeks.
okay, but I just want to give a little bit of an
Yes.
update.
That's just
So-
a study session, so the
Correct.
payment wouldn't be on that date.
Right,
but-
there would be no payment. So myself and the mayor have been in continuous contact with Priority Waste. I know the mayor's just, same thing, not as happy. I'm not happy, and I know a lot of residents have not been happy. I want to add one asterisk to this, just to be fair. In all my years on council, almost 8 years now, consistently, and I think you could attest to this, Councilman, almost every garbage company we've had, there's been complaints from residents. And I'm not saying they're not justified. They are justified, but I'm just saying it seems to be, unfortunately, kind of an industry thing. Because with Waste Management, we had issues. With GFL, we had issues. With, and I'm being blunt with the names now. I know you shouldn't mention names. I'm going to mention it. Priority right now, we currently have issues. So there's no doubt about it that something needs to be done. But we want to keep that in mind, that when there's 23,000 properties being done, there's always going to be issues and mistakes that happen. And then when they go on social media, then it sounds a lot bigger than it is. Now, with that being the case, a little bit of an update. We've scheduled study session with Paul Rothenberg, which is with Priority Waste Management, and his position is pretty much managerial. They've had to service, I'm going to use the correct verbiage that our corporation counsel would probably like. Services were no longer needed for the person that was in charge of Dearborn Heights. And they put a new person in charge, and that's Paul Rothenberg. I've had many conversations with him. I've forwarded over to him every email that I get from residents and calls and texts. He knows of the situation. He has taken over himself personally and has promised that he's going to get it on board. Will he? I sure hope so, obviously. I have a little short memo to read to the residents here on that. It was an email that was sent to us, and I'm going to go ahead and just give you guys a little bit of an update. He sent, my name is Paul Rothenberg with Priority Waste. Thank you for your well-placed concerns. This was a email from a resident, and he replied to me and the resident. Priority Waste currently has equipment in the area collecting, and we anticipate completion of that area by 11 a.m. This was north of Warren Avenue, east of Inkster. And at the end of today, for the bulk and recyclables, after the second week in May, we discharged our route supervisor, and I am now in charge of Dearborn Heights operations. I have 35 years of logistics in the residential sanitary industry. I'm expecting to get the community's trash, recyclables, compost running well by the end of this week. This will be this week. And then he goes on to say, I cannot apologize enough for the difficulties we have had during this unprecedented volume that this May has brought upon us. Rest assured that although it is currently not evident, I'm going to skip the rest, we are not another company, I won't say the name. We are not a huge corporation that doesn't care about our customers, rather an independent company that cares deeply about our customers in Dearborn Heights. All the Dearborn Heights crews are currently working 14 hours per day to bring the city current. Should you wish to discuss further with me personally, and then he gives out his information. So they are on it, they are aware,
Council Chair.
but I just want to make sure that the residents and our council members know that they are on it. And I'm not justifying what's happened here.
I received the same email.
Yeah.
Council Chair.
Go on.
And, I know, you got 23,000 homes. You're not going to have it perfect. But I'm going to be just straight blunt with you. They suck. They're terrible. They're not doing a good job. And it's not that it's one resident that's calling me. It's the same streets. It's the same neighborhood. It sucks. And I'm not even saying it for applause. It really isn't. They're terrible. I want to go with Councilman Pro Tem Muscat on this one, but I know that probably potential for legality reasons, we probably can't. I want you to know that I would hold Corporation Counsel to it and make sure that, the next payment doesn't go through if things are not up to speed.
Okay. The only thing I want to add is an asterisk, and I'm not saying whether we pay them or don't pay them, but one of the challenges that we've had in the past, we've had this discussion, you will have a harder time getting contractors in when they know at any drop of a dime we won't pay them. I'm just throwing it out there. That doesn't mean I don't agree. I'm just throwing it out there. But I'd like Corporation Counsel to give us
Yeah,
What's his perspective on this?
my perspective on it is that we need to be careful about trying to do things in terms of remedies that go beyond the contract, and that we're going to potentially end up running into a different issue with contractors, which is if you have a contractual remedy, and then basically you pull the other remedy, which is don't pay them at all until they, quote unquote, like get their act together, you're potentially leaving them without any sort of sense of what is going to end up being done. Now, clearly there have been problems, including in my neighborhood, with respect to the collection. So obviously these things should end up being verified and quantified, and my recommendation would be that we would send correspondence, specifically myself. I could be directed to send correspondence to them speaking about this and saying exactly what they're going to do and how much we're going to end up taking off of their bill. I don't think it's helpful to end up saying, for example, that they suck, because I think essentially it's not something that would give them motivation, exactly. Thank you, Councilwoman. And I think that that's part of the difficulty, in addition to potentially causing us to go beyond what the remedy would be. So holding back on the payment for a short time until we end up speaking to them might end up being something, or as another measure, directing me to send correspondence to them about what they are going to end up doing with respect to the reduction in the amounts would probably be a more prudent step in this situation.
I've got another proposal, and if you could help me out on this, Corporation Counsel. As a part of our contract, we have the right, off the top of my head, to cancel the contract. Wasn't it within 30 or 60-day notice?
It's different, I believe, in the first couple years. As a matter of fact, it's a four-cause standard, is my recollection. I did not look at it
Okay.
before today.
So I'm just, if you could look into it, but maybe we could send a stern warning that if not resolved by X date, okay, by X date, whether it's 30 or 45 days maximum, okay, then we're going to do whatever remedies that we have available to us. Personally, I think that might be a better route to go. By that point, we would have had him in here, would have had a conversation with him, and hopefully, as per his email, Paul's email, he'll have most of these issues corrected, hopefully by next week.
Well, Council Chair, are you saying with respect to after the communication? I sent
No,
the
I'm talking about
communication
now.
or no?
No, we send him a communication now, prior to the study session, so that he is aware upfront, and his company is aware upfront what remedies that we will take if they don't get their act together. And I agree with Councilman Muscat. By now, they've had enough time to be able to fix their issues.
That's fine.
But the asterisk is, they put a new person in charge, and we got to give that person an opportunity to be able to correct that.
I don't, I see that as being a viable option as well, and probably.
You don't, or you do?
I do.
He does.
Okay.
I do.
Council Chair?
I think that would be a viable option in this situation, as opposed to saying, look, you suck, we're not going to pay you, and then no one's quite sure what that means in terms of
Okay.
future
In the audience,
payment,
if you guys don't
or
mind,
giving them an incentive to take care of things, especially when they're saying that they're going to.
Okay. Councilman Constant was first, then Councilwoman, then yourself. Go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you, Council Chair. I too have received many calls, many complaints. On my block, I don't think any of the recycling was picked up. When I was leaving my office, there was a priority truck, a gentleman in there that pulled up that asked, where is this trash that needs to be picked up? But having said that, this isn't a small contract, it's a large contract, and our Corporation Counsel is exactly right. We have to be careful what, how we proceed, because if they say, well, later, you didn't pay our bill or withheld our bill. So I agree, we should send them a letter and notice and quantify what the problems are, what hasn't been done, not to too much detail, and then say, it's got to be fixed by such and such date, or we're going to have to make other arrangements.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman?
First to Gary, do we already have a clause regarding penalties if things aren't done?
Yes, exactly. And that was what I was referring to, and that should be quantified. In other words, I would think that the mayor's office or the DPW should be able to address approximately how many complaints we have, and then that allows us to penalize them for each one that they have failed to do. So we have a liquidated damages provision with respect to that.
And Dave, I have one more.
Go ahead.
I personally experienced difficulties and have had called them twice in the last 6 days because both weeks were bad. Thursday night, we put our trash out 6 o'clock-ish, and it's supposed to be picked up on Friday. Well, the first week, Friday, one got picked up, Saturday, one got picked up, and by Monday, the other one was still sitting out there. So I called and explained that I, too, am experiencing difficulties. I happen to be on the council, and I'm getting calls, and this is not acceptable. So they did get somebody out. They said they'd have it that night, but it was Tuesday morning, 8:45 a.m. Now, this last week, 2 were picked up on Friday, but Saturday, we had a storm, and they had not picked up the recycle. My barrel blew over into the street. I was out there in the rain, picking up all the stuff out of the yard, or out of the pavement. So I called them again. And the lady says, well, we can come out Monday. And I says, Monday's not in time. I want it done today. And I said, I will be speaking to the mayor. So I did call Bill and tell him I talked to them and that I had told him that. And within 2 hours, they were on the next street from me, and they were picking it up with an 586 phone number, which I think means it was a truck from the east side. But, yeah, we have to call because it's not working.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman, do you mind if I skip you for just a sec? Because I don't want to forget. The mayor, if I could have you comment on this. So one of the criticisms has been from residents, why should we call priority if you guys, us, are the ones that hired priority? Why should we as a resident call priority instead of calling City Hall and have them deal with it? And I know there was reasoning behind it. It wasn't so that we don't take calls, as I recall. If you don't mind bringing the audience at least a little bit of not an update, but just give them the reasoning behind that, please.
So,
Okay, in the audience, please.
a couple of things. The first one, they're still, with this contract being new, I've been talking to the owner almost every, if not every week, every other week, just to give me a status of what's going on. In the past, the past company, they had limit on what they can pick up. This company, Priority Waste, they're actually picking up whatever's out there, which is, that's not really right for them. So they're sending me pictures. Some people are doing not just house cleaning, they're like moving cleaning, throwing everything outside. And Priority feels like, okay, we got to take all that stuff out. And I've sent some of the council members some other pictures. The yard waste, that's the one that's really hurting Priority Waste, is they allocated actually several more trucks, because May is the heaviest month with yard waste. So they allocated 4 more trucks, and they still can't keep up, because there's one particular house, I talked about it the last meeting, they put 80-something bags outside. And in the past, the max was 10 bags. There was another house, a few days later, he sent me a picture. It was about roughly 50 bags. A couple of days ago, I got another text from the owner that they have this particular house. It was a big house, so the whole block with yard. I lost count of how many bags they actually put out there. So they're actually picking up stuff. They're just having a hard time keeping up with what's out there because we didn't put limits on the residents to put stuff out there. So now they feel like they can put everything out there. So one of the first things that we need to do is we need to put limits. The 2 items, that's it, 2 large items and 10 bags. So we haven't done so yet. So this is some of the stuff that we're discussing right now with
But
Priority.
why are they having residents call
Okay.
them directly instead of calling
I
City
just
Hall?
wanted to address the first issue, but so they are picking up a lot of stuff. So it's not like they're not picking up. I know they're having a hard time keeping up because of the amount.
In the audience, please.
So the other thing is they're bringing in new technology. Obviously, they're putting new cameras. I mentioned at the last meeting, new cameras in every truck, and they're bringing tablets. So the reason why they want the residents to call them direct, is they can actually, if there is anything missed, by the time they call the city hall, we call them, you're gonna lose a few hours, sometimes a day. So especially if you call on, after the city hall closes. So they can actually dispatch somebody. If there's somebody out there, they can just send them a text or something through the tablet, and that's how they dispatch. And they're actually keeping track for customer service. So that's one of the things that they're very adamant on calling them direct, so they can keep track. And right now with not everybody calling them direct, they're not really getting the whole picture, like who's actually calling where the problem areas are. And that's how they're tracking it. Their customer service center is tracking where the calls are coming from, just to make sure that, they're servicing those residents. And at the same time, when you mentioned, they had that one particular supervisor, that pretty much gone. So now Paul, who's the manager, who's taking care of all the calls for Dearborn High School, they get this thing on track. And they are obviously, they were the first one to volunteer to come in front of council and address some of the things that they're doing to fix things.
Right. So that's going to be not this coming Tuesday, the Tuesday after they will be here for a study session. Councilman Muscat.
With all due respect to everybody, I just can't pay a bill. I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, vote no on the entire line 6 because of one thing. And that's an unfortunate thing, that I gotta vote no on all of that stuff. But I'm paying someone to do a job. And this is not the first time they've done this business, this type of business. Why are they picking up all the bulk stuff at the same time they pick up trash? Even GFL sent another vehicle around to pick up the bulk stuff, the things that were left on the ground, okay? They're supposed to, our biggest thing right now is people have, their trash isn't being picked up. Pick up the damn trash. Pick up the recycle. They're mixing everything together, okay? This is not a hard job to do. My God, and it's $213,465. Yeah, let's just pay somebody for not doing what they're supposed to do. And I disagree, Counselor, that it may be a better way to do. This should have been done 2 or 3, 4 weeks ago. This has been talked about now. Now we're at an impasse. I'm not paying. I'm voting no on this, folks. I don't want to pay this trash company not a dime more until they get their act right.
Okay.
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmed.
I also share the same frustration like the council members and the residents. I have a corner home. I left my yard waste on Wednesday. That's my trash day. I left town and I came back on Monday and it's still there. A lot of residents call me too. I'm in support of Corp Council sending them a letter and enforcing penalties right away. But regarding calling the city or calling the company, I'm in favor of calling the company. I had the resident call me. I gave her the number. She called them right away. Within like half an hour, they replied, and they took care of her concerns. So
Yeah.
I think
The only challenge I've got with calling the company, Mr. Mayor, if there's a slight problem, like in any business, my business, any of our businesses, somebody takes care of it and we get it corrected. The challenge I've got with priorities so far is they're not taking care of the basics first. So you shouldn't have to call on it. So if I put like, let's say 60 bags out and they don't pick them up, I can totally understand that, and maybe that one needs a special call. But if just your basic 1 can of garbage, 1 can of recyclables, and maybe some compost, that shouldn't be a problem. And especially, my biggest challenge is when they're missing a whole neighborhood. That's where the real challenge is. Now, I'm not saying this is on all of us. I say it the way it is. I mean, we as a body picked this company, so we have to take the blame too, But they give us a good presentation. We're going to give them an opportunity to try to make corrective action. But I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm saying it publicly, I'd be the first one to vote yes on whatever is within our parameters to be able to cancel them out and maybe get another company back in. The challenge we're going to have is there's really only 3 major companies here locally. After that, that's pretty much it. I don't want to name the next company after that. So For some of the residents that say, I don't like this company, then your choices are going to be some of the other companies we've had that you haven't liked either. So we're kind of limited, because once you go to the fourth or maybe even fifth company, you're getting companies that, with due respect to them, may not be able to handle a city of our size. So the alternative would be to go back to GFL or Waste Management. I just want to throw it out there. And again, during my tenure on the city council, I was getting a lot of calls on Waste Management, getting a lot of calls on GFL. And we canceled GFL because of the fact that we were totally not happy with them and went to a new company. So keep that in mind and in perspective. Any other council members have,
Council
Okay.
Chair, I would say that just let's enforce penalties for now. Give it 2 weeks. If it doesn't change, then I think we can take action in reviewing that contract.
Well, they are coming down.
go ahead, Councilor.
Yeah, so I guess the question is should I take that I should send a letter to them tomorrow and essentially saying, look, you need to do something, we're expecting penalties to be imposed regardless, and you should be on notice that the level of service has been unacceptable, and the city council is most displeased at this point, or words to that effect. Does that sound like an approach that I should be taking? I just want to make sure we.
I'm speaking on behalf of myself individually. Yes, absolutely. Council members?
Yes.
Councilman Wenzel, are you in favor of that? Councilman?
I'm in support.
Definitely, yes.
I'm support.
Yes,
No,
Okay.
yes.
Councilman? Councilman? Okay.
no.
And I'd be.
Get someone's attention, take their money away.
Okay.
Then you'll get somebody's attention. $250,000, you're gonna get somebody's attention right now, not with a letter. Oh, yeah, I got this email. Okay, I'm gonna go back next week. And then by that time, garbage still ain't picked up. That's the way I look at it.
It's unfortunate.
Money always catches
I
your
got you.
attention.
But unfortunately, it seems to be, sadly, but an industry situation, because we've had the same things almost with every company we've had here.
We didn't have this problem with Waste Management. I have to disagree with you. Waste Management's problem was they were dumping trash and overcharging us at the facility as
Right.
what we were told by the former administration. They were making it right. We were forced to go with GFL. I voted 5 times no on that contract. We were threatened, oh, trash won't be picked up the next day. When Waste Management was sitting at that podium saying, yes, it'll be picked up. Yes, we'll work month to month. We were forced into this. Now we're at the point where we're at today.
Okay. Well, I'd be the first one to be in favor of canceling this company or any other company that's not getting their job done personally. So if we have to go back to Waste Management, so be it, if that's what we all choose. But, okay, so at this particular point, Madam Clerk,
We have a motion on the floor.
yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with the motion. So motion made by Councilman Baydoun, this is fund transfers of current claims, seconded by Councilman Constant. All in favor, please state aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, do we need to take roll call, or are we good? Okay. So we have 6 yeses and 1 no. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is reports from the mayor. It's item 8A, Annapolis High School Senior Parade, Tuesday, May 31st, 2022.
Council Chair,
Councilman Constant.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council grant permission to Annapolis High School to hold a senior parade on Tuesday, May 31st, 2022, commencing at 6 p.m. The police chief and the fire chief have approved the route and will provide any services that may be required, as outlined in 8A.
Support.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Is there any discussions on that? Okay, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 8B, request to rescind previously adopted motion 21-389.
Council Chair.
Councilman
I
Muscat.
move that the Dearborn Heights City Council rescind motion 21-389 regarding the adoption of unrestricted minimum balance. A new motion is being presented to replace it as outlined in 8B.
Support.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilman Baydoun. Any further discussion on that? Okay, I'm going to ask the mayor, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, if you could give at least the audience so that they're aware of what exactly is happening with this particular motion. Sorry?
The next one will tell us.
Okay, I'll have him go on the next one. That's fine. Okay, so motion 8B, motion made by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilman Baydoun. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 8C, adoption of an unrestricted minimum balance.
Council Chair,
Councilman
Ahmad.
Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the adoption of an unrestricted minimum balance equal to 4 million at the end of the city fiscal year. The fund balance will be reported in the city fiscal year single independent audit report in compliance with Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Furthermore, to authorize the mayor to implement the necessary actions to achieve the 4 million upon approval of this motion as outlined in 8-C.
Support. All right, you guys all said it at the same time. Who supported?
Here's the Councilman Muscat, I want him to have it.
I stopped.
I want you to have it.
All right. You were voted in. I'll see.
How did I vote? I didn't even say it, but I'll approve. I'll say it. Second.
President Baydoun gave it to you. All right, so motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any further discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
can we have the mayor give us a quick synopsis as the word that you love to use on this, please?
Council Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So the previous motion that was put in, that was approved by council
sorry.
last year, it had a percentage, 16%. So this, for this motion, obviously, it's not mandated by the state, so this is something, so we get audited, they're gonna look and see what was actually said by the council. So we're just going to the 4 million, which is, even that's not a requirement by the state, there's our requirement as a city.
Okay. And for those in the audience and on Zoom, just the plainer version of that, all cities have to have some rainy day fund, little extra funds, liquid funds to be able to use for, depends on how much is in their resolutions, whether it's a month or 2 months of extra money always available. When the bills come in, you have the money to be able to pay it. You can't have people wait a month or two to be paid. So this is pretty standard, and we're just changing it right now to the new amount of $4 million at all times.
Council,
Any other further discussion?
yeah, Council Chair.
Councilman, go
What
ahead.
was the amount prior to this?
16%.
16%, which was about 8 million.
Okay.
Any other discussion items on that? All right.
Chair,
Yes, Councilman.
the 16% was how much? 8 million?
It wasn't exactly 8 million, it was almost, it was 7.
Okay, what's
Sabuda,
the,
7.4, something like that?
what is a typical 2-month operating budget on, for that? Isn't it the greater of the two? Isn't that what we're supposed to be, it was recommended? The 16% or 2 months worth of operating budget?
So Mr. Sabuda, come on up. So the 16% is what we made in the resolution previously, I don't have the exact date here. It was, I think it was last year, last year.
July.
We had made that to the state, and we told them we would have the 16% always available to us. Because of the shortage, we have to adjust it to the 4 million. Mr. Sabuda, go ahead. That's our interim controller.
So for 21-22 fiscal year, the 2-month average expenses were $9.0 million. And the estimated 16% would have been approximately 8 million in fund balance. That's what the 16% equates out to. And then for the 22-23 year, the 2-month average expense was 9.470 million. And then again, you're looking at approximately 8 million, very close to $8 million in fund balance required.
What is the 2-month operating budget that was mentioned also?
Again, the 2-month expenses, for fiscal year, for the projected fiscal year 22-23 was 9.470 million.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Controller. Any other questions from the council members? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9A, Council Chair Abdallah, Community and Cultural Relations Commission appointment.
You take it. Yours.
Well, I'd rather have a,
Council Chair.
Council Chair.
but Councilman Muscat.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council nominate the following Community and Cultural Relations Commission candidates: Naja Janoon, Rachel Lapointe, Mary Beth Betlikowski, Mason Abdullah, and Ahmad
Kalbi.
Kalbi. So that's why you should.
Al
have done
Kalbi,
that, Al
okay.
Kalbi. The candidate receiving the majority vote will be appointed to the commission with a term to expire November 2023 as outlined in 9A.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilman Constant. And by the way, for full disclosure, I just didn't want to read it just as a council chair, just let one of the council members read it. But this was something that I bring forward on behalf of the city council, because the next appointment on the Community and Cultural Relations Commission appointment is by the city council. And I contacted Leslie Windless and asked her who had applied, and then checked anybody else with the Madam Clerk who had applied, and then I added him on there for the city council to vote somebody in.
Council Chair.
Any discussion on that? Councilman Constant.
Yeah, what we might do is Leslie Windless indicated at the beginning of the meeting is refer this, nominate these people, but then refer it to the Community and Cultural Relations Commission, let them conduct interviews and come back with one or two members that they prefer.
No, that's not what she
Okay,
said.
1 second, this has to be, you have something to say? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but that's not what she said.
Okay, I know, but just let him, I'm just saying, we have to
Yeah.
let each other
And that's
finish. and then
fine.
Go ahead, so go ahead.
So, I think what we're supposed to do today is pick somebody today. I think each one of us, starting from whichever end you want to go, nominate a person and let's vote on it.
Okay, that's definitely an option.
I think
Council Chair?
that's what this is all about.
Sure, and I do want to say that the commission had been waiting for a while to get somebody appointed, just in all fairness.
Council
Councilman,
Chair.
go ahead.
Thank you, Council Chair. To be honest with you, looking at this, I'm looking at 5 outstanding individuals, to be honest with you. I think each one of them will do a great job, and it's so hard to pick somebody. And to be honest with you, I was going to recommend the same thing, like maybe send it back to the commission and have them maybe narrow it down to 2 individual. And I guess maybe Ms. Leslie, she did mention a couple of people, and but that was my suggestion, maybe table it. And I don't know if they sat down with those nominees, or can we hear?
Okay, so I have heard that, I know at least some commissioners or potential commissioners have been interviewed, is what I'm aware of.
All of them, or just?
Leslie, can you come up and clarify if you don't mind, please?
Some of the members were interviewed when they applied for the mayor seat under Mayor Paleco. That was the structure that we used to recruit new people. But we did not, under like this new administration, do interviews because we were told the decision would be 100% up to you per the charter. So the interview process was not used for the last appointment, and it's not being used for this one. And we do not want it tabled. We really, like someone already said, they're all great people. We just want somebody so we can have a quorum in June.
Okay.
Please.
No problem, I can appreciate that. So for that, Councilman, if that's the direction, as a body, we decide to go in that direction, then the next best thing would be, maybe I could put a study session, we could bring the potential 5 candidates, we interview them, because at the end of the day, it is going to be us that are going to be selecting.
Yeah, and I agree, Council Chair, if that's okay.
Sure,
But
but
this-
now, for full disclosures, and I'm also an ex officio on that commission, and so is Councilman Baydoun.
So, but prior to being that, I was on the vice president, and I know the way it operated was, for the most people on the board right now, aside from the mayor's appointment, it was an interviewing process where I was the vice president, and Latanya went in, sat down, interviewed them, gave the recommendation that, of the 6 people that we interviewed, here are the 2, was put in front, and you made a vote. And to me, with just being fair, everybody here should be entitled to being interviewed by the Cultural Relations Commission, because right now, 2 names were given to us, and I believe that every name should be given to us, because like, for example, I'm looking at this name, and I'm just looking at somebody like Ahmed Al-Kabi. He's a great young man. He was never interviewed. So we don't know this.
Council Chair?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so I received calls from other commissions, and they're actually complaining
Okay,
that they
I'm
should
sorry.
actually.
Mr. Mayor, just one quick second. In the audience, please either whisper or please no talking, because it is a distraction on Zoom, in the videotaping, and to the council members trying to conduct the meeting. Go ahead.
Okay, as I mentioned, other commissions actually voiced their concerns that in the past or even present, other commissions are not it's an appointment either by the mayor or the council. So there's no interview process. So now, if you guys do with the interview process, that's setting a different, I guess
Precedent?
criteria for, now all commissions gonna come back and say, you know what, we wanna interview people coming into our commission. And it's a city commission, and we just gotta be mindful and be, careful to what we do here. Because it's, at the end of the day, it's council, it is an appointment by the council, and most of the commissions appointed by the mayor and concurred by the council. So we got to be careful not to change the precedents for other commissions, because other commissions, you just make the appointment, and the council concurs.
The only thing I respectfully disagree with you on that, because, and I see your point, but at the same time, it's at the discretion of the city council as far as who we pick and what process we decide to pick. So if we decide to pick a process with interviewing, then technically it is within our rights. But I do respect your opinion. Councilman Constant.
Yeah, and just to echo what the council chair said, like for the Watershed Stewards Commission, we set forth names and contact the mayor's office and say, appoint this person or that person. This is a reactivated commission, and I would, amongst other things, like to know a little background on these people and also who the commission thinks they can work well with.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other comments from the council members?
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
I don't see how this got blown out of proportion here. We've been talking about this cultural commission now for quite a long time. And
Glad it's popular.
And we've had people come up here begging for having people get on this commission. We're at a point now where they want one person to get nominated, and every one of these people are known. It's not going to take, we're not building a spaceship to Mars here. We're picking a person for the Cultural Commission. Let's just get it over and done with. Okay, we're going to go through another study session to interview people. This is ridiculous. We've already had the recommendation from the vice president of the Cultural Commission. This is, to me, just kind of a no-brainer.
And for whatever reason, this commission is super crazy popular, over and above and beyond what I expected,
Well,
honestly.
they do
'Cause
great
usually-
work.
They do good work, but usually we beg people to get on commissions, but everybody wants to be on this one, so
I don't vet anybody.
That's good. That
Wait a
means we're
minute.
doing a good job. Good
Council
job.
Chair, but I don't vet anybody going on the planning commission, the zoning commission, or any other commissions.
Sure.
We don't vet them.
Corporation Council, go ahead.
Council Chair, just to raise an issue that might be of significance to you in making your decision, it may not be possible for the Community and Cultural Relations Commission to actually give you some sort of a recommendation upon interviews, because they may not be able to get a quorum from what Ms. Windlass is saying, and then you're just going to be further delayed under those circumstances. So I think the council should take that into account. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Counselor. Any other comments from council members? Councilwoman, go ahead.
I'm prepared to go forward and nominate someone at this point. I think we should do it today.
Okay. And it is within the guidelines, if one of our council members or many of our council members want to nominate somebody, that person would be seconded, and then we'd vote on them.
Council Chair?
If there's more than one, then obviously we may have to use a little bit of a different process. Counselor, go ahead.
I believe your motion already has nominated all 5 individuals. I think the appropriate thing would be for you to simply take a vote like you do when you end up going through the council chair and the clerk is agreeing with.
Well, to clarify, what I was suggesting, so let's say hypothetically, Mr. Muscat can say, personally, I think we should vote in, Jane Doe. And then if all in favor in Jane Doe, she gets the majority, we're good to go.
I guess what I'm saying is your motion that has already been approved.
Right, to pick one of them. Is that better
Is
verbiage?
at that point right
All
now.
right.
So if you're going to
Corporation
change
Council is
something-
always going to give us the legalese. All right, to pick one of them.
Yes, exactly.
I'll speak in street lingo then. All right. So anybody have a particular person they would like to
Council Chair?
push forward? Go ahead.
I push forward Naja Janu.
Okay.
Support.
Support. Support. Okay. Is there anybody else that you guys would like to consider? Councilman?
I'd like to nominate Rachel Lapointe.
Okay. I'd like to add a nomination with Mesa Abdallah. For full disclosure, no relationship.
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Mary Beth Beltowski.
Well, how many are we doing?
You can't do two.
We only do one.
You can nominate all you want.
Council Chair,
Wait, okay, 1 second, everyone. Madam Clerk,
if you
go ahead.
recall, when we, and maybe Corporation Council can help me with this one, but when we did the appointment for
The chair and
the
vice chair.
well, the chair, the council vacancy, the mayor vacancy, we went ahead and you nominated them all, and then we did a roll call vote, and Tom Wenzel gave us who his choice was. Hassan Ahmad gave us who his was.
Okay.
Only one per person.
Yeah,
You only
okay,
get one
Council
choice.
Chair, I think you're at that point,
Yeah, so-
actually.
Right, because
Councilman
you
Wenzel.
nominated all of them already,
Council,
right?
Councilman Wenzel, who would be your preferred?
I can nominate two, can't I?
No.
Only one, you only can
I
vote
can
for
only
one.
vote?
You're
Oh,
voting
I mean,
for one.
everyone right now is already nominated.
Oh, they're already nominated.
You already nominated five people.
All right.
Now we need to
So
vote
who's your,
on
who's your
choice is.
nomination?
My vote?
Yes.
No, not your vote. Who you
They're
nominating?
already nominated.
Everyone's already nominated.
Give me a hat, put all the names in the middle.
Okay,
God, how hard is this, folks?
all right. I speak on behalf of a lot of the council members. We've had many conversations on this. This is very problematic. There's just so many that want to be on there. And I don't know if I'm speaking wrong, Leslie, but people can still volunteer, can still be involved. They just won't have a vote. But they'll be able to do a lot of work. I've been on those meetings, very active commission, by the way, have done a lot of good for the city. And even if somebody's not nominated or chosen, they can still be very active. Absolutely. They just won't have a vote. So, okay,
Council Chair,
Council.
to give you all a minute to think about this, okay, I happen to have the ordinance. In one of the numbers under it, it says, "The members of the commission, as nearly as possible, shall be representative of the community, including management, labor, social, and economic factors, and the various racial, ethnic, and religious groups, and personally shall have manifested and demonstrated their interest in improving community and cultural relations."
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and, Madam Clerk, I don't know if this would be the appropriate way, just go ahead and take a vote, one person at a time.
Yes.
All right. Those in favor of Rachel Lapointe, please raise your hand. Rachel Lapointe. Okay. Got one vote. Those in favor of Najah Janoun.
You changed.
Hmm?
You
I
changed.
just nominated to get the process started.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Those in favor of Mesa Abdallah. Okay. We got one. Looks like Najah Janoun.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I'm sorry? So the spelling of the name is Najah. Last name is Janoun.
2 N's.
Two ends.
Well, on here they have it as one N.
It's just
Najah,
audience.
what's the right
Oh,
spelling of
it
your
is
last name?
supposed to be
Two N's at the end? Okay,
in the middle.
in the middle. Janoun. Congratulations again.
Congratulations, Janai.
I corrected that about 50 times in my phone book.
All right. Next item on the agenda is item 9B. And this is CEDD Director Jamal, residential purchase agreements for 24045 Courier, 24095 Courier.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase agreements between the city and the owners of the house located at 24045 Courier in the amount of $130,000 and 24095 Courier in the amount of $127,000 as approved by FEMA/Michigan State Police. FEMA is paying 75% of the approved value, and the city is paying the additional 25% of the approved values. In addition, authorize Allen Brothers LLC to facilitate the closing process and the mayor and clerk to sign the closing documents according to the title company calculations based on the applicable rules and regulations. Furthermore, authorize the mayor and the comptroller to sign the necessary warrants and the treasurer to issue payment in the amount not to exceed the approved value as stated above, with the addition of closing fees associated with both transactions not to exceed $3,000 as outlined in 9B.
Support.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilman Ahmad. Is there any discussions on that? I'd just like to make a statement. I commend Hassan Jamal, our director, and I commend the administration for continuing to work on this and continuing to put in initiative after initiative for the Ecorse Creek. That's something that's very, very important to all of us here on the council. It's very important to the administration, and I am sure, obviously, it's very important to a lot of the members and residents that live near there and unfortunately have to deal with this. But keep in mind that the administration and the council as a whole will, at least if it's whenever it's within my power, I will continue to push, and the mayor is doing the same thing, to continue to get this situation cleared up as much as possible.
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
I too want to just give my applause, tilt my hat over to the mayor and the CDBG Director Hassan Jamal. You know, it's not an election year, and they're not giving up on this. Ecorse Creek is definitely, one thing that the mayor ran on was, fighting for that Ecorse Creek, getting the homes out there, getting the grants out. And you know what? I got to tell you, this is great work. I watched what happened on the news. Seriously, I'm proud of this. I'm proud of Hassan Jamal. I see that the grants that we got, here's 2 more homes. Mayor, can you tell us how many homes total have we been able to do this since you've been in office in the last year or year and a half? Okay, just of last year, and then do we know how many more we're hoping to get in? That's great, man, that's great. You know what, thank you to that. That tells me that you're serving the residents here on this, so.
How many is it, Mariana?
That's a nice flex.
This is another grant.
8 this year.
And good job. Good job.
Okay. Hassan Jamal would like to comment. Go ahead, Mr. Jamal.
2 minutes?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Jamal.
2
Can you
minutes?
unmute him, please?
You're getting 2 minutes?
Go ahead, Mr. Jamal.
I just want to
2 minutes.
make sure we are not forgetting the Ecorse Creek Commission and their positive and contribution to all this process. They were critical in keeping this Ecorse Creek situation moving toward at least semi or final resolution. Also, I really wanted to commend my partner, professional engineer Ali Deeb, for his contribution also to this. And publicly, I wanted to thank the Michigan State Police, FEMA Division, for all their assistance and facilitation and restoring our relation with those projects. I just want to remind everybody that the project we are finishing now, that is an old project. It was expired last year. And with the help of everybody, I was able to propel it, make it alive again, and actually using additional seven homes so far, plus getting paid for 3 homes that were not being paid in the past. All this, it's a team effort. I'm just doing my job as part of the team. Thank you.
Good man, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jamal. And I'd like to point out, again, the focus is to be one city, not north and south. North and south is just geographic. It is one city, and I tell you, I, as a council chair, I know our council members believe in the same thing, and I know our mayor and administration believe in the same thing. This is one city, and we will continue to work on all sections of the city. There's no such thing as North Dearborn Heights and South Dearborn Heights, technically, except in geographic. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Council Chair, just,
Councilman, go ahead.
how many homes left? Like how many, what's the target?
15.
15 more. That's it? There's a lot. I mean, I know it's like 2 blocks, right? There are like 2 blocks on it from,
Maybe 10?
Oh, with Inkster,
or how many homes is there?
there's hundreds.
Us, one step at a time. I mean, we're not rich.
It's a lot of work, but there's a lot of work being done, including, as you remember, the drone situation that Mr. Aladi brought forward. The commission's work on different aspects of it. You know, this is a work in progress. Unfortunately, we've talked to a lot of residents, the city doesn't have all that money. So unless federal and state grants come in, we just don't have enough money to be able to pay for all the needed fix-ups. But the difference is, the administration has been focused on this to try to make sure this thing gets corrected. And I'm happy, personally, that this was, my biggest criticism has always been politicians, all politicians, when they run for office, they run to Ecorse Creek and tell them all the great things they're going to do. And then the moment they're in office, they're done. I appreciate the administration and this particular council body for continuing to push to get this sad, sad situation corrected. Unfortunately, the damage, or this situation that we are in right now, was done in the 1950s. And all of us, except Ray Muscat, were not around back then. So,
Council Chair?
you know, when those decisions were made, he was around, we were not. But we're gonna make corrective action to get this thing, you know, yeah.
Council
Get
Chair?
this thing corrected.
Yeah, I'm
Councilman
correct.
Wenzel, go ahead.
Just to let the council members that are newer or didn't know, we've torn down complete blocks of houses on the other side of Telegraph in the past.
East of Telegraph,
East
correct.
Telegraph. So we've been doing a lot in that area. And for those of you who don't know, a few years back, we lost Director Hassan Jamal. And fortunately, very fortunately, we were able to get him back on our payroll again, and it's working out really well.
Good, thank you.
Chair,
David?
Councilman.
just, I want to reiterate something that you stated as politicians. I'd like to believe everybody here, including yourself, we're all public servants, and that's why we're doing a good job. Public, politicians, there are other people. Us here, every single one of us, including the mayor, we'll even give it to our corporation counsel. He's a public servant. That's what we all do here. That's why I'd like to say we're working together and we're doing a great job.
Thank you.
That's it. Some, smiles, some compliments.
Councilman Constant. and
Yeah,
Councilwoman
briefly,
Breyer.
the Ecorse Creek was deemed a creek, and the difference is not a river. You can build homes right up to the creek, and it's managed by not the state, but Wayne County, and that created some challenges for us with especially the tri-level homes along Hanover Street. When the creek overflows, the third level or first level fills up with water. So, yeah, we've been getting grant money and giving people money for the homes and tearing them down and creating green space.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman?
Yes, in answer to Hassan's question, primarily west of Telegraph at this point, Courier and Hanover, west of Beach Daily, Amherst. And I'm currently the chairperson of the Ecorse Creek Commission. And I've been working with Mr. Jamal since we started this, the last flood of June, July last year.
Doing a great job.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Great job.
Okay.
Great job to our councilwoman. See that public service?
And this is a new commission that was just created with this new administration, just for the audience. Director Jamal, I already let you on once, so I'm gonna let you on a second time, but it's gotta be very short. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Yeah, just, to irritate what everybody stated, but let's target the facts. This particular mitigation, acquisition and demolition project, it's not to resolve.
Bless you.
Bless you. It's not to resolve the Ecorse Creek flood issue. It's to help and assist people to be given a way to relieve them from the misery of flooding because they cannot take it anymore, and it's voluntarily. Now, we are working on incorporating this particular process of buying those homes and assistance to relieve the people from the misery of flooding and we are doing a scoping study right now. FEMA will be supporting that to incorporate those sites if we can use them in the future with the FEMA approving the use of that and trying to create, with the assistance of the creative mind of P.E. Deeb and the administration and the Ecorse Creek, to do a detention retention small area in those areas to see if that's gonna be a relief, temporarily mid-size, what we call primary relief for the flooding. If that study comes positive, with the study coming from the drone, then we are going to incorporate that program. So when we buy the houses, which coming in the future to be 90% FEMA support and 10% city support. So it's not gonna be 25.
Thank you, Director.
Okay, thank you, Director.
Does a great job, by the way.
So,
Thank you.
so in summary, what the Director is saying, the new program, we're gonna be, as a city, paying 10% of the funds versus the current 25%. So thank you.
Good work.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Okay, so motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is our Chief of Staff Hernandez, Master Agreement for Daly Park Municipal Street Lighting.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the master agreement for Daly Park Municipal Street Lighting and the purchase agreement between DTE Electric Company and the city. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to physically sign, electronically sign as may be appropriate, the master agreement and the purchase agreement on behalf of the city. The funds will be paid by Tifa and has already been approved by the board as outlined in 9-C.
Support. Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, supported by Councilman Baidoun. Is there any further discussion on
Council
this?
Chair,
Councilman Wenzel.
is there someone on Zoom or someone from the administration that can tell us exactly what that project is?
Mariana, come on up, please.
I go by there quite a bit, and it's very well lit park. I mean, it's got dozens of lights already, street lights in it.
There are lighting, there's really good lighting in the park itself, but no, the street lighting is not great. So the project is to install 6 street light poles in areas that are very dark right now that the residents have brought up. And Tom is also here if you want to ask any questions.
Thank you, our Chief of Staff Hernandez, and this is Tom from Tifa.
Yep, Tom Roscoe from Tifa. Yeah, the way it came up was noticed last year that residents were complaining it was very dark at Daly Park. And I thought, well, we just put in 12 lights. So I went there one night and saw the park itself is very bright, but the streets, there's almost no street lights on the street. So it's very dark. And I don't know if somebody remember a few years ago, we were having problems. They were finding people who would go to drug houses in other cities and come to that area specifically, and they were finding, unfortunately, they found a young lady, deceased in her car, and so I thought, well, I approached the mayor, he thought it was a great idea, let's light that area up, and so together with the administration, they got a hold of DT, and Tifa board approved the funds to pay for the installation of the lights, so.
Amazing. Council Chair.
Good job, Tom.
Thank you very much, Tom. Councilman, go ahead.
I know this is just maybe just a little off topic, and maybe Mariana can help on this. Sorry, Mariana. As I was leaving here, parked in the back, last Tuesday, right after our budget hearing, there was a bunch of kids playing hockey, basketball, and they were wondering if one of the lights that are facing towards City Hall, we can turn one towards the roller hockey rink. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if the mayor is willing to do it, but I'd love to see kids staying in our parks, and if it's right here in our own backyard, it'd be great.
We'll take a note and bring it to the Building and Engineering Department.
So awesome, thank you.
The only thing to keep in mind on that, we leave here pretty late. I mean, I hope in terms of the residents, they're not playing real late and making noise. Something to consider.
And Council
Okay.
Chair, there would also be the idea that the light needs to not be shining into the residential area, which is probably part of what was the issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just look into it, that's all. I told them that I would bring it up.
All right, we got Mike Blackburn here. I'm sure he'll help us in looking into this, if you don't mind. Thank you. All right. So again, item 9C, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilman Baidoon. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 11A, Controller Sabuda, resolution of the of the Council of the City of Dearborn Heights, Michigan, adopting an operating budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council adopt a resolution of the Council of the City of Dearborn Heights, Michigan, adopting of operating budget for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023, as outlined in 11A.
Support. Motion made by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilman Baidoon. Is there any further discussion on that? Mr. Sabuda, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is a typo on the resolution I want to bring to the council's attention. Very easy, very straightforward. On page 1, the total tax rate should read 21.9048.
What page again, I'm sorry?
Page 1 of the resolution, right on top. The total, if you, my mistake, and I apologize. That the total tax rate should be 21.9048. Not 22.5075.
One more
Okay,
time.
this
Sure.
is right here, on this page, right in the center.
Page 1, right in the middle.
Okay.
The tax rates, as you come down, as you see the tax rates, and you see the total of 22.5075. Do you see that there? Okay, that's going to be changed to 21.9048. It goes down.
9048.
And that's, I added the column up incorrectly, Councilman, I'm sorry.
We like
Okay.
it better.
Well,
I thought you would.
yeah, so stay up there, please.
Yeah, no,
All right.
Okay, so
Thank
for
you.
those in the audience, no, Mr. Sabuda, there's gonna be other questions.
Oh, okay.
This is what's been put together, so you got a lot of pages, so one mistake, we'll let you go on.
Well, thank you.
Controller, a couple of questions that I've had. Number one, with the ARPA money, and I just want to discuss that a little bit, if you don't mind giving us like a sentence or two on that. We were given 12 million so far this year, 2 million, we used it for the adjustment. But then the 10 million you are using for sewer,
It's in the water sewer fund
right?
to do CSO projects that will be determined by Mr. Dibb, and it will come to council for final approval.
Okay, and that's where my concern was. This is just, at this particular point, an idea.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure and clarify
Yes,
that.
Right.
Yeah.
They have to come to you with a project.
Right.
And you have to approve that project.
Right.
Yes.
Not the concern, but the idea is we've received some ARPA money, and there may be some other things that maybe we could use it in the city for, other than just sewer. And I know, Mr. Deeb, I know you're gonna hate this one. I know water, sewers, very boring, and I get it. It's part of the infrastructure. It's very important. But I can tell you, as a council member, I would like to look into the best practices or the best things to use it for, and maybe water is a part of it, but not be obviously the only one. That's the first question. And the second question, we've had full discussion on this, but I'd just like to bring it up again so that our administration, controllers, and everybody else involved will continue to focus on this, including all the directors and chiefs in our city. Our overtime has got to be drastically cut down.
Right.
With just two departments, fire and police, we are at almost $1 million, or I think it's even a little bit over $1 million.
Well, that's between, we're talking 2.7 million at the end of fiscal year 21-22. It's approximate, I'm coming off the,
I'm talking with fire and police alone. So what
Yeah.
I'd like the directors to continue to focus on, and I know HR is also focusing on this, so I know part of the reason that this stuff comes up is because we're short-staffed in some departments. But we got to continue to focus on lowering the overtime. And one of the things that I suggested at a previous meeting, if you recall, controller and whoever's in charge of this, whether it's you or administration, I'd like to have whichever works easiest, but preferably upfront, directors come to us as a council body and say, I'm gonna need 10,000 in overtime this particular month. We approve it, and if that particular department ends up needing 11, I'm using hypothetical numbers here, then we would do a revision. But what I don't want, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself, I don't know if the council members agree with this, what I don't want is to deal with this at the end of budget season,
Right.
because by then, it's too late, the money's
Right.
already been spent.
Right.
And I'm sure all the people that got the overtime wouldn't want to reverse that.
Right.
So if you don't mind if we could implement something like this. If it's impossible to implement, and the key word is impossible to implement, which I vision that it can be done, then at the very minimal, what I would personally suggest is month by month, come to us as directors and let us know what overtime has been paid for. And then I can tell you, I can speak for myself. I don't speak on behalf of the whole council, but I can speak for myself. I'm going to be asking questions as to why, and it's got to be a good reason, because the amount of overtime we are paying is just sky high.
Well, again, when state law requires that when you know that your line item is going into in a budget deficit situation, you should amend your budget. Okay? Once you know, then you should amend. And those amendments should be coming to you, whether it's each meeting or quarterly or monthly or semi-annually. That has to happen. And state law is pretty clear here. Get your line item amended, get it in front of council, get it voted on, and come up with your funding and get that taken care of.
But I want it in front of council on a monthly basis, because what I don't want to do is deal with this at the end of the fiscal year, which by then it'd be too late. So whatever overtime is needed, and I want all department heads to continue to focus on this. There's always going to be overtime. You can't make it zero. I realize that.
Right.
But it's got to be cut down quite drastically. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the controller since he's up here? Okay. Hearing none. So again, item 11A, motion made by Councilman, thank you, Mr. Sabuda.
Thank you.
And I've said it before, but I'll say it again for those that didn't show up to a lot of the study sessions. We had a lot of study sessions. We had public hearings. Good job. It was a lot of work. For those that don't know, Controller Sabuda jumped on board, and 3 weeks later, we had him do a full budget for us. For those that don't know, that's a lot of work, and he was able to put it together, him, his team, and administration. So thank you for all the hard work.
Well, it was a
Chair, while
true
he's up
team
there.
effort.
Absolutely.
True team. Thank you.
And I know in your letter, you also mentioned Stephanie in Mayor's office. For putting the packet together.
fantastic.
So thank you very much, too,
Yes.
Stephanie.
Council Chair, I have a
Councilman,
question
go
for you. Can any of the ARPA money be used to balance the budget?
What is happening here is in the first installment, you can use the ARPA money to offset lost revenue. And that's what you're doing in the 22-23 budget. The first 2.1 million of that is recapturing lost revenues, and you're using that to balance your budget for fiscal year 22-23. So to answer your question, that's what you can for the first installment. The second installment, bless you, you cannot. It has to be used first for other
The
projects.
first installment was how much?
12 million.
12 million. Okay, so we're going to have a balanced budget?
We are projecting that the fund balance at the beginning of the year will if you'll recall.
Fiscal year.
Yes, hang on, let me get my.
I've got it right here for you, if you'd like.
We went through this the first night. So at the end of 22, we're estimating a $4.1 million fund balance. And at the end of 23, we're estimating a $4.3 million fund balance.
Can you explain what that means? To the general public?
The unrestricted fund balance means that the funds are unrestricted. Now, that doesn't mean, I want to make this very clear, that doesn't mean that is all cash. That's assets, that's receivables, that's payables, that's restricted assets. And at the end of the day, I don't want to get into an accounting lesson here, but at the end of the day, that's your unrestricted piece is available for emergencies to move forward.
Okay, and just in layman's terms, there's talk that we're going to be in a deficit in the budget. It's been going rumors and talk going around, millions of dollars.
Yep.
And we could use this ARPA money to balance a budget.
You have already,
A completely balanced budget, no deficit.
right now, you have a fund balance reserve of, we're estimating to be 4.3 million at the end of fiscal year 23. That includes the $2.1 million of ARPA money that will come in at the beginning of the new fiscal year.
You're saying that's how much we have over a balanced budget. We have that much extra.
The
Is that what you're saying,
4.1
layman's
million,
terms?
that is correct. That is
4.1
your rainy day, or that is the unrestricted. Now, please remember, as I said in the first session that we had with council, we're overspending between 1.6 and 1.9 million annually. Okay, and that is repetitive. And if you remember, council has brought in 2 one-time funding stopgaps into the general fund. Okay, and we went over this in early April. Council brought in $2 million in the 21 fiscal year, and it's bringing in the 2.1 million in ARPA funds in the 23 fiscal year. If we didn't have those 2 cash infusions, we would be at $100,000 unrestricted fund balance at the end of the 23 year. That would have been the estimate. 100,000, that's nothing. So at the end of the day, council's been able to find these little pockets of dollars that are not consistent to help keep the general fund afloat, and to have something in reserve in case you do have an emergency out there in the upcoming seasons. So please remember, you're overspending right now $1.6 to $1.9 million annually.
Okay. And Councilman, or for those in the audience, if you recall, the controller put together this particular format right here, budget highlights,
Yes.
and it's in this particular page. They kind of explained it in layman terms, and I appreciate that.
That's it. That's
And
it.
just to reiterate, this has not been just last year and this year. It's been going on for quite a number of years.
Yes, sir.
And it was never explained to council how much we've overspent. Those of us who really try to study the budget, I kind of knew a little bit with the help of a few of the residents, O'Hare, Abdel Haq, and even Director Jamal. I kind of knew that for quite a number of years.
Great. Okay, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sabuto.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and.
Council Chair?
Yes, Councilman Wenzel.
I had a couple of things I want to say. I talked to some people, and it was suggested that if I believe in 51% of the budget, I should vote yes on it. But I know this is going to pass, but I'm going to vote no. There's a couple of things that, and I'll just mention 1 or 2, because first of all, I'm going to see after this meeting how easy it is to amend the budget. Like everyone's saying, you just amend it as you go. So we're going to see how easy that is. And one thing, there's the comptroller position is going up for bids right now. We're looking for a new comptroller, and it's budgeted at $115,000 a year. Now, on the city website, it describes the job description as a 4-day-a-week job. And that's pretty expensive. So when we go to 5 days, we're going to be kind of obligated to give him a 20% raise, which would be $143,000. I think that should be adjusted, because if that's comparable with other cities working 5 days, that should be adjusted down 20% or whatever. It's just a couple other things in there, and I will bring them up and for some budget amendments and see what happens. Thank you. And another thing is, I'm sorry, this year, the budget, the directors sat at a table next to the comptroller and said very little. In the past, the directors presented their budget. It's pretty interesting because they're right there, their hands on. They weren't just the numbers person; they were the person running that department. And it was nice to have them present their budget. This year was more or less, cut and dry facts kind of thing. And that's one thing I wasn't really happy with, is that part of it.
And I could appreciate that, and that's probably no different from somebody saying, I like green color, I like blue color. Everybody's got their own choices. I can speak for myself, This particular format, I personally liked it a lot better because you had continuity. You had the same director, in this case, controller, which I'm gonna tell you, not only graphics-wise, my background's marketing. Graphics-wise, data-wise, presentation-wise, I thought was on point. I mean, I'd give them an A or A minus, maybe even an A plus certain days. Yeah. No, but it's never, nothing's ever perfect. It's gotta be, but I felt that particular format is a little better format because what you're getting continuity from the same person presenting each and every budget. So you're getting the same type of data and information. But then right afterwards, every director was sitting right next to the controller, and we had, a comptroller, we had the opportunity to be able to ask them whatever particular questions, and they presented their ends. As the comptroller mentioned in previous meetings, all the directors came with all their wants. We're like this, and we have a budget like this. So then obviously they minimized the wants and then brought forward the things that they absolutely had to have for this year. So, but, it's an option available to the controller to change if all of us as council members with the next budget decide to change that. But like you did mention, Councilman, yes, it is a fluid budget. So yes, you could make amendments and yes, you could make changes, adding or subtracting, provided the council body wants to make those changes and votes on those. Okay? So motion made by Councilman Muscat. This is the fourth time I'm doing this. Seconded by Councilman Baydoun. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Okay? Because this is a very important subject, I'm going to ask the controller to take roll call, please. I'm sorry, the Madam Clerk.
Dave Abdallah,
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Mo Baidoon,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Bob Constant,
Yes.
Ray Muscat,
Yes.
and Tom Wenzel.
No.
Okay? 6 yeses, 1 no. Motion carried. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next up is members of the public.
Council Chair?
First of all,
yeah. First of all, we talked with the clerk about the resolution for the golf course. Are we going to bring that up and talk to the council about that?
so as I mentioned with you, if the council members are okay with bringing it back to a study session again, if the support is there, and you mentioned you had support from 4 council members, I have no problem. But because of the deadline, we'd have to set a study session for this Thursday,
I can't this Thursday. Council Chair's on
and then,
holidays.
let me just
We do
finish.
it during the day?
We'd have to set a study session for this Thursday, and then we'd have to set a meeting. There's no meeting next Tuesday, which is right after Memorial Day. We'd have to set a meeting for right after Memorial Day to vote on this. Otherwise, based on the guidance and deadlines given to us by the state, the clerk feels that we more than likely would have a difficult time getting it on there.
Time on, Council Chair.
Wait, hold on, Madam Clerk wants to say something. You want to say something, Madam?
Just defer, I've not done a charter amendment before. I know that Corporation Council has gone through the procedure. They request a 60-day.
Madam Clerk, I'm sorry, into the microphone. It's hard to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just defer to Corporation Council on the process for going through the state.
If I recall correctly, we're pretty much like out of time.
Well, August 2nd, by 5 o'clock, we have to have everything okayed to put it on the November ballot,
Right, but I'm saying we have to have 60 days to submit things,
which would be June 2nd, I believe.
right, which would be probably extremely
So that's
fast.
why I'm referring to you on that part.
Right, I mean, I guess it's possibly doable, but
It is.
I'm not sure if
It's
there's.
not impossible. It's not
No,
impossible. I talked to some
It's not
people.
impossible,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of if there's enough support
Well,
among
yeah.
people,
Okay.
given where everyone was. at
Take
the
our
study
chances,
session.
do it and take our chances.
So here's the issue, just to clarify. We had a study session on this. We had a full discussion on this. And as a council body, the vibe I got, the vibe Corporation Council got, it just didn't seem like there was much support for that. At the same time, as I mentioned to you, Councilman, I will not block anything from moving forward if that's what us as a body want. With that being the case, the next meeting would have to be to work out the specific details in that resolution, because one that was there would not suffice for doing any type of work on that golf course. You know, when I'm talking about work, we're not talking about building residential homes. We're talking about getting work done that needs to have that property operated at its max in terms of profit and in terms of enjoyment for the residents. If we put the resolution forward based on the way it was stated, you could almost make no changes to that golf course, you know, in order to make it better for the residents. And again, for clarification, we're not talking about adding homes. We're talking about doing things to that golf course to make it better. With that being the case, the time is the issue. Go ahead,
Council Chair,
Councilman.
I have a question, and maybe this Corporation Council can answer this. What if something was put together, a resolution that says absolutely no residential building? Done. Let the residents vote on that. Keep it simple.
That's the elephant in the room, buddy.
There you go. Just if this is what the
No, it
council
doesn't
wants,
build a residential.
and it's strictly, I mean, because I'm going to be honest with you, if recreational were to be there, we can build an auditorium, and we can have a civic center, we can have an indoor, a park, and who knows? I'm not going to restrict that from happening. I'm
It
not.
doesn't
for that.
matter
But
if the residents, no, you don't
but I
understand. The
am
residents
all-
can vote on it, a resolution, but it doesn't mean anything.
Well,
The
I'm
city
just-
council can change it the next day.
What are you talking about? If the residents vote on something?
Yeah.
No, I think.
Don't-
he-
don't-
No, if we change the
You have
charter,
to, I want the residents to vote to have the charter changed.
In regards to the golf course?
Yeah.
Regarding building
Well,
residential.
whatever,
No
whatever
development.
it is. Contrary to what the council chair said, the vibe wasn't no one's interested. The vibe was everybody was interested, but they wanted to put their own 2 cents in. That's why we have to have, we got the one that we got, where there was all kinds of things, say, hey, we need this and that. It was a lot of conversation. And all I'm saying is, we need to get together with everyone's ideas, nail down what we want to put the language together to send to the state.
Council, now,
But you
Councilman,
can't-
I know you called me, and the conversation that we had was, this is what I've said, and I've said it publicly. Definitely against building residential homes in Dearborn Heights on that golf course. But if we were to build a recreational, and it becomes where again, you start having this, I just went to Ivana Abraham, our former magistrate at Dearborn Heights. We went to her swearing ceremony. That auditorium was beautiful. Where can I right now set up a place in Dearborn Heights other than Riverside Middle School to have an auditorium in Dearborn Heights? We don't have that. The city's not operating. We don't have anything like that.
We have 32 acres on Inkster Road in Annapolis, vacant.
And we also have a bunch of land, and I'm not saying we're gonna build on the golf, but I'm saying that is an option for the near future. But it's not an option to build homes.
okay. So very simply, for this thing to continue to move forward, we'd have to have a meeting again with the council. We'd have to get the corporation counselor to make whatever changes that's wanted on that resolution. And then from there, we'd have to have a regular meeting, and it'd have to be probably this Tuesday, otherwise this thing's not gonna work,
Tuesday,
to vote
Wednesday,
on
or
it.
Thursday.
I'm sorry?
Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I mean,
Tuesday, what, I'm sorry,
Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday next week.
Of next week?
right,
Yeah, I mean, you could have it,
okay,
well, the first was, the 31st, I think, is Tuesday, and the first is.
Exactly.
okay. Corporation counsel, go ahead.
Yeah, and Council Chair, just in terms of the perspective that I shared with you after the meeting. Oh, okay. I usually
on?
am,
I don't
people
think
normally
it's on.
don't have a problem.
Is it on?
It's on.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But when we spoke after the meeting, I was like, I don't see any consensus with respect to this. And you agreed
Correct.
that there was no consensus.
Correct.
And that I did not need to work on something until we had a sense of a consensus. The difficulty is that Councilman Wenzel is correct. There are people who were in a lot of different places in terms of this. Well, the language has to be clear language that ends up being put out there. And frankly, one of the difficulties is to say, well, we'll just say no residential building. It's almost kind of like, look, we're just going to end up throwing out one thing and then really not addressing the issue the way, again, this is like a constitutional amendment. It should be addressed with the idea that it's going to last for a while, not that you're going to come back every year with some other little tweak to it. And, you know, that's part of the difficulty in this situation because, I mean, it was raised, specifically so much more recently and was an add-on to an agenda. That really, as an amount of deliberation is very difficult. And if I come back with language, unless everyone just says, yeah, that's fantastic, but really, I feel I do a really good job of trying to figure out where the council or the majority of the council is over the years in terms of these types of things. I had no clue where the seven of you were. I mean, I'm talking about in terms of there being a four-person consensus on anything.
Right. Well, a part of the problem is you are aware, I'm not an attorney by any stretch of the imagination, but in my business, I'm always reading contracts. And part of the challenge with the particular resolution was no development would be done on Warren Valley Golf Course. And the word development is a very vague term. It could be anything. Because if you think about it, if we put in a bathroom on the, I don't know, 8th hole or whatever you actually want to put in, or next to the pumps, you put in a half bath there, you technically can't do that. If you tear out the building that the pumps sit in and put in a new one, that's development. You can't do that. There's a lot of things you can't do.
And the difficulty is to come up with the language to basically potentially reflect a consensus. There has to be time spent on it, and there has to be actual deliberations. It's not like you can just say, well, this is development and this is not, unless you really actually think about it and have a consensus on that for at least, 4 of you with respect to that item. And that's the difficulty.
So let me start with this. Okay. Let me see. Go ahead. Okay. So in order to have a chance for this thing to work, we have to, again, set a meeting within the next couple days. And again, we have to meet with a special council meeting that would have to have a vote at that particular point. And then we'd have to have the corporation councilor get all the stuff that we want done with that time frame.
Council Chair, we're risking
very
this.
short on time.
Yeah, we're risking this to move so fast. If we all want to do this correctly, I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
No, go
Council
ahead.
Chair. Look, I know what Councilman Tom Wenzel wants. I know what Councilman Ahmad wants. I know what you want. I know what Councilman Muscat wants. I think we all know what we want, right? But like our corporation council said, we don't have the language. And so, to me, there's going to be 5 other new elections that are going to coming up. If it's not this November, it could be the following November. It could be the following primary, whatever it may be. But I don't think we need to rush right through this. I can tell you right now that none of us are up for an election right now. And right now everybody here has publicly stated that they don't want to build on this golf course. As long as I'm going to tell you, if somebody on here wants to build on it, to build homes, I'm going to be the first one to tell you no. As long as I'm up here on here. So I would like to say to the councilman, I don't want to rush this. I don't want to force. Look, Tuesday I'm not going to be here, and my wife will. If she finds out we're going to leave up north early because of this, she's really going to beat me up.
I want a meeting on Tuesday. I'm going to be at your house.
Madam Clerk, I just thought of an idea. There might be another option, Councilman. The next vote after November, when would be the next vote? Would it be March? Is there any special election in March?
Not right now. Not right now.
May?
School. No.
No.
When would be the next
your
one?
next year, we only have we as a city only have a local election.
And that's when?
Which would be, it could be August if there's more than 6 people that file.
Okay.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be until next November.
So,
we
Councilman,
don't know.
that would be the next option. And for full disclosure, I myself feel that, residents elect council members to make decisions on their behalf. That's why they elect them. And like I mentioned the last time, when this thing was put up for sale, if we would have had to put it up for the residents to vote on this, we would have lost this particular property to possibly a developer. We would not have had the opportunity to be able to buy this because based on that particular proposal, we can't buy either in general. Buy, sell, et cetera, with the golf course. So to me personally, I'm all for development on the golf course. We're not talking about residential homes. We're talking about whatever it takes to make that. Look, I went and walked it. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a mess. There's a lot of work to be done. And Corporation Council, you're not going to like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. There's a lot of stuff that are gone from there. A lot of stuff. Right now what you have is 4 walls in every room you walk in. There's no furniture. There's no equipment. There's no stoves. There's mold. There's holes in the wall. There's leaks in the ceiling, there's concrete issues, there's definitely grass issues. There's a lot of work to be done. And for those that think it's gonna be operating pretty soon, I mean, I can tell you right now, I have a total change of heart. It's gonna be operating extremely soon. It's probably not gonna happen. And I know people may not like me saying this, but from my personal viewpoint, it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. But with that being the case, in order to operate profitably, in my personal opinion, as a businessman, more has to be done for that golf course to create more people coming in, whether it means a restaurant, whether it means a cigar bar, whether it means maybe a swimming pool, maybe a gym. Maybe there's also been talk about the fire department maybe putting a little section in the parking lot.
Point of order.
Yes.
We're getting way off the subject.
But the point is, it's not gonna be, it's not gonna happen by
But
Tuesday.
what I'm trying to, by saying point of order, we're having a study session right now. Okay? And we can't have the study session right now.
All right.
Okay? And I made my feelings felt that I'm in support of doing something with this resolution, okay? We've got to do it right. We always rush into things and then we end up screwing things up by, we got to do it the last minute. I support Councilman Wenzel in a resolution or a ballot, a charter amendment change and having the people vote. I'm 100% with that, but we can't do this in 1 minute here.
No,
We've got, because I've got some ideas, you've got, every one of us have got ideas. And the word development is too broad of a term to use, way too broad. I said it before, Councilman Baydun has said it. I don't want any development with any sort of housing or industrial or hotels or whatnot. Okay, plain and simple. But anyway, I think this is a time for us to set up a study session and get things, at least the ball moving.
Okay, but again, in order to get this on the ballot, we have to do a study session this week.
And it may
And we
not
have to
happen.
meet sometime,
And
well,
it
I
may-
know, but I need direction. You guys?
Council Chair.
Okay, who here on the council is in favor of me setting a study session for this week? And I'm voting on this thing by Tuesday, maybe
I
Wednesday.
can't do it this week.
Anybody?
I'm
I
going.
don't think the,
Councilman Wenzel,
I'm
go ahead.
with Councilman Muscat. Let's get the ball rolling regardless of what we do. If we can check one thing off the list, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, I don't mind setting a study session, but I'm just telling you, in order to get on the ballot, this has to be done within the next 4 or 5 days. It's that simple.
By next week from Thursday. Has to be done.
It
We
would
have
have
to
to
have a
be
study session this
submitted.
Thursday.
Study session and a vote, special
We
meeting
have
and
to
vote on it.
next week.
And there's no meeting on Tuesday, so I'd have to set a
Can we
special
meet
meeting.
Thursday during the day? I mean, as we've done budget hearings.
I'm open to do whatever the city needs. I have no problem on my end, but we gotta make sure all of us are there.
Well, like Councilman Muscat stated, it's like this last minute, but how long have I been harping on this? And now all of a sudden it's the last minute because it's the last minute. No one's listening to me.
Councilman,
I've been
we
asking-
tried that 5-6 years ago with Lisa Hicks Clayton. We've been talking about it for years. I mean, this is nothing new. This was before you became a council person. We talked about this. She was leading the effort on it, and it just completely stalled.
It's going to stall again
okay.
if we don't just
Well,
do
we're not gonna
something.
stall it
Council
anymore.
process.
Councilman, would you like me to set a study session at a later date, which probably won't meet the deadline? I'm telling you right now.
Tuesday? How about Tuesday and we vote on it Thursday?
We'd have to have it by
Next
5.
Tuesday.
I think we have to have the ballot language in by 5 o'clock on Thursday.
agenda.
the 2nd.
Right.
Well, I mean, we could try. I mean, we could try the next day.
That's the state.
My opinion, we're super
The state-
rushing
The
this.
state, for the election cycle it is.
Okay. Councilman?
speak the vote, you were asking.
Okay, I mean, let's put it to a vote. Do you guys want to set a meeting for this Thursday and then meet again this Tuesday?
I cannot
can't.
do it
I've
on
got plans.
Thursday.
Hey,
Anybody
time.
do it?
During the
I'm
day?
not available.
During the days? During the day?
I'm not available. I've got doctor's appointments.
Yeah, you can.
That's the problem.
Why not?
Okay, just if you don't
They
mind.
schedule
Okay.
budget hearings during the day.
Council
Okay,
Chair?
Councilman.
Council Chair?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm prosecuting on Thursday, the whole day. I don't know that I can get coverage like, in a day and a half.
I'm gonna fight with you, I promise you.
It's over. It's over. You see what happens. You see what happens.
Come on up.
What happens.
golf course to the city, let Tom Wilson run it. That's what he wants. Do some fundraisers, gather money, go cut the grass and maintain it. All right? Keep this.
Okay.
I'm done. I don't want nothing to do with this golf course.
No, no.
Council Chair, come on.
Councilman.
Council Chair, Council Chair,
Wissam, Wissam,
Council
Wissam,
Chair.
please don't walk
Wissam.
out.
Council Chair.
Councilman.
Who's in charge here?
Well, Councilman, he walked up to, he wanted to say
Nobody
something, then
should-
suddenly
did you
said this.
say anything? I mean, you can do that. You can walk right up here and start talking.
He asked if he could say his statement. He's the one that's taking over the
No,
golf
he is.
course.
I didn't, say- what, just to have this protection, again, this is happening again. Last week, same thing happened. No one's saying,
I don't blame him.
sit down. Hey, point of order. Point of
Okay,
order.
okay.
Nothing.
Thank you, Councilman.
No, not thank you.
Okay. Any other statements?
The residents of Dearborn Heights, I tried. Okay, I did everything I could. And
All right.
I'm not done.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from council members?
Council Chair,
Councilman Bedun.
let's, just for a change of topics real quick, and I know we've had this discussion.
I'm sorry, was there any other?
We had announcements from.
No, that's next. That's next. First is council members.
Just to change the subject here a little bit, Council Chair, and I know we did this early on in the beginning, but my heart goes out to the children and the families who have just been lost in that severe shooting. You know, it really, it hurts, man. Becoming a dad recently, it's painful. No joke, I choked up today, and I'm so sad that something like this could even happen. Really, my heart is out with those people. I also want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day that's coming up. I know that the council chair has constantly been scheduling meetings every Tuesday, and I said to him, wow, we're finally going to have a Tuesday off. So thank you to the council chair. It almost happened. We almost had one, though. I thought I may have almost jinxed it. As far as what's happening today with the trash, I know the mayor's going to tackle this on, kind of like how he's been tackling on what's happening with Ecorse Creek. Right, Mayor? It is terrible. It is just completely terrible to the residents that are paying attention and that are watching this. I'm so sorry once again that we're going through this struggle together, and I want you to know that every single person on here, from the administration to all the way from Councilwoman Hicks Clan all the way to Councilman Tom Wenzel, every single one of us are getting phone calls, are tackling on this issue, and hopefully we'll find a better solution on this. I yield the rest of my time, Council Chair. Thank you so much.
Council Chair.
thank you.
Council Chair. First of all, we took a vote on having this meeting. How about if we take a vote on having a meeting and start the process for next year? Can we do that? Can you take a vote on that?
I don't need to take a vote because it's
We'll
at my
put it on
discretion. I have no problem setting
Okay,
it.
all right. But I have several things to say as a council member. Can I take my time turn now?
I mean, you took your turn. I'll give you additional turn. No problem.
No, I
Give
mean,
me a sec. I
that
know.
was during the discussion. I'm on comments from city council.
You want what? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Monday is Memorial Day. Everybody know, or hope most of us know. And we honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. We honor those who gave their lives for our freedom. And so let's honor all these fallen soldiers and all of our veterans out here and on Zoom, and especially our mayor, Bill Bazzi, on this great weekend, this great day. Recently, I've gotten away from one of my major concerns, and that's talking about families in Dearborn Heights. Dearborn Heights is a family city. One of the best ways is to experience religious services with your families. It's a great thing to do. We also have several things coming up in the city of Dearborn Heights. We have our concert season starting in June. I'm not going to steal our director, Lawrence L's thunder. We have our outdoor movies, family movies starting in August. We've got a great event, the Juneteenth event coming up, and that's a great event. I went last year. We had the whole family there. Great time. And most coming up the soonest is our Spirit Festival, June 8th through 12th, and like I said, I won't steal any thunder from our director, Kim Lawrence. Speaking of Kim Lawrence, I'm sorry, director. I recently went to the Richard A. Young Center, and the kitchens are being worked on. Great, looks really cool, everything that's got done there. The restrooms are working again, hallelujah. And in the vending machines that say operate at your own risk.
Nice.
Yeah, that just means if you put your money in there, you're not getting it back from the girl at the desk. You know, they're not going to fall on you, or the food's not poison, I don't think. But anyway, and speaking of the Richard A. Young Center, we recently had our annual rain garden maintenance day there, and really good turnout. It was fantastic. Had a good time, and we couldn't have done it without, you know, our sponsors and Studs Hardware, the Dearborn Heights Professional Firefighters Association, Local 1355, Elite Sports, Saturn Food, Cordy's Collision, our County Commissioner, David Kniezek, who took care of a situation for me this past week. David, you're an awesome guy. Bob Constant, Dave Abdallah, Mo Beydoun, Hassan Ahmed, the Tifa Board, Wade Trim, Treasurer Lisa Hicks Clayton. Thank you to everybody for sponsoring the Ecorse Creek cleanup. It was very, very great. Last weekend, I had the distinct pleasure of being recognized at the annual induction ceremony of the Crestwood High School National Honor Society.
Wow.
And I was given a national member of the National Honor Society, and it was a great introduction that they gave me. I couldn't believe it, you know, brought tears to my eyes. The honorary members were fantastic. I got a beautiful plaque from them. I've worked with a lot of these kids for years, and they most of them show up for our rain garden maintenance. Great bunch of kids. Being an honorary member of National Honor Society, I wish my mom was alive. Thank you for that. She'd be so proud of me, you know. And this award, like I told some people, it's a great award, but the best award is the reward you get working with these young children. You can't beat it. They're the greatest people in the world, and it's such a great thing to work with young kids that are focused on improving their community, improving themselves, improving their family. Great bunch of kids, and not only Crestwood but throughout the city. You know, my hat goes off to them. And speaking of the Watershed Steward Commission, we are looking for new members. If anyone wants to join the Watershed Steward Commission, contact the mayor's office. And on a sadder note, tomorrow, May 25th, is an important and sad anniversary. 16 years ago tomorrow, Dearborn Heights police officer Corporal Jason Mikowski lost his life while on duty. Let's remember Officer Mikowski and all the police officers in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, throughout the country in our prayers, the ones who lost their lives protecting our cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other council members have an announcement?
Council, yes, I do.
Councilman Muscat?
First, I want to say that, again, shooting in Texas today was just an absolute horrible thing. And I don't know which direction our country has taken, but it's not going in a very positive way at this present time. Second of all, I'm very disappointed that we may have lost our concierge at the golf course.
Yes.
I'm very disappointed. And it just sets us back that much further, if it is true, if it's going to happen that way. And if it is, I want us to instruct the mayor to get on this tomorrow morning and do either contact him back, work something out, or let's get back and open it back up somehow. We've got to get it done. This is a no waiting situation. Zero wait. Got to be done starting tomorrow. And that's what I'm asking City Council to instruct the mayor to do. We have that authority, and I make a motion that the City Council, I put forward a motion that City Council direct the mayor to start the process tomorrow. Do I have a second?
Hold on, Corporation Council wants to say something.
Do we need to suspend the rules first?
Yes, you would need to suspend the rules
We
first.
need a first.
And
I'll do that anyway.
yeah, and here's, apparently there's been some communication. The chief of staff has gone out, and it appears that some individuals have shared,
Corporation can't hear you.
some individuals on the council, it's believed, have shared Mr. Isa's private cell phone number with some individuals, and he has received communications that could at least be considered to be harassment and potentially something far, far more serious than that. And this is what has ended up causing him. As a matter of fact, I'll say what I've basically said to the mayor. This matter should be turned over to the police department for investigation of possible criminal charges, given statements that have, it appears, been made to him. And this is very, very serious, and it appears that someone or someones are taking things way beyond the idea of potential competition and are potentially doing things that are criminal in nature. And I'm sure that the mayor, we were supposed to have a meeting tomorrow at 3:30 with respect to this, with Mr. Isa, his attorney, the mayor, Ms. Hernandez, myself, and this is very, very, very problematic. But it was brought about by information potentially being shared that should not have been shared, and also by virtue of things being communicated to Mr. Isa that have caused him to be very concerned for the safety of himself and his family.
Wow.
Not me.
Well, we will find out when we turn it to
Guarantee
the
you.
police.
Council Chair, I will tell you, and not to say I'm not here pointing any fingers, I've also been getting several phone calls and emails, even that there was a dirt bike, and
Yes.
really, I mean, we know that the golf course is a jewel to the city. And I don't know where I'm getting all these phone calls as well.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry.
No, and I was gonna bring that up, Councilman.
Yeah,
Bill.
I'm just,
I forwarded that email to the mayor, and I want the police to start investigating that if that's possible. But what's crazy is the person who took that picture looked like they were right on top of the guy who took the picture.
I agree.
Why didn't they call the police? Okay, we have all of these people.
If I may, I would caution, given the fact that there's likely to be a police investigation, saying too much which might taint the investigation.
I won't say no more then. Thank you. But anyway, again, Memorial Day, let's tip our caps off to our veterans who are deceased and those living, and I thank you for your services, for allowing me to sleep at night with both eyes closed. I got a few other things. I'll cross off the golf course update and get back to what I've been talking about the last few council meetings, is the cars that are parked on the street on trash day pickup. I'm not seeing anything other than a few here or there that are getting ticketed. We've got to get these cars off the street. I'm tired of it. People just doing what they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. Okay? The blight in this city needs to be done, as other cities do, as a misdemeanor. Corporation council, how do we do that? I want that done. I've said this for years, even before I was a council person. The only way people are going to understand this is if you hit them in the pocketbook. Then they'll get the message.
Well, there are two points there. One of them is it would require an ordinance change, and that could be done. The second one is whether or not it should be done, because we can get cleanup orders. We can end up doing
Cleanup
stuff.
orders are 90 days to a year, Counselor. Come on.
Look,
I'm
a
getting
jury
tired of
trial
that.
for a case like this, which the person would have an absolute right to, would end up being potentially a year to a year and a half, and you can't get a cleanup order. So, I mean, essentially, the reason we went to municipal civil infractions in the first place was because they were faster, and the person would not necessarily have any sort of right to a jury trial. And then I have to tell you, prosecuting people for code violations is, when it comes to like a jury trial, it's not the easiest thing to do. My first jury trial was the People versus, I'll just say Smith, and it had to do with a trailer being stored. And my recollection, which was probably back in, I believe, 1988 or 1989, was that it wasn't the most easy thing to do. It would have been like that going before a judge.
I wasn't
So,
even born then.
you know,
Well,
I mean,
but the
in
fact
other
of the
words,
matter
it's not that, it's not, there's a question of effectiveness, and there's a question of, and that's why it was done. And I think it's more a matter of, I mean, like, for example, I got an order entered to end up seizing certain dogs, okay? That can end up being followed up on. As a matter of fact, I will need to probably talk to Ordinance Enforcement Director Dishroom. But in terms of if it had been a criminal matter, she would have asked for a jury trial, and right now we would be waiting for it to be scheduled for months.
Well,
And we wouldn't have been able to get the order.
It's no
in.
difference now with people getting tickets for blight. It's no difference now. We give them, well, I got a few other things though, Council. Everybody's been butting in and talking.
Go ahead.
Okay? So, but the fact of the matter is, we give them 7 days. It turns 14, 21, 28, 90 days before it even sees anything. By that time, summer's over, the weeds are gone, the bleachers are still 12 feet tall. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I've driven to homes of people that have been on this council, people that have lived in this city, that work for this city, and their homes are out atrocious. Okay? We've got to hold ourselves personally responsible for this. Okay? This is utterly ridiculous. Okay? And look at the grass outside. Who's in charge of the grass outside our city hall? Can somebody answer that question for me?
DPW?
Well, then somebody needs to be fired looking at that lawn. So I think I should give somebody a ticket, DPW a ticket for that lawn. Who's in charge of that? Tell me who's in charge of cutting the grass. I don't care about overtime. Come on, it's cutting grass. Okay? Looks like hell. Don't give me this overtime stuff.
There's a lot of grass.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, guys.
Okay? Who's in charge of that? I'm asking who's in charge of cutting the grass? DPW. Who's in charge of part of that DPW? Really? Is your lawn, you'd like your lawn looking like that, Mr. Blackburn? And don't give me overtime. That's ridiculous.
Council Chair? In this current state that we were dealing with, the mayor was dealing with budget issues. He had cut out overtime.
Here we go with overtime. You guys got to have overtime to go to the bathroom.
Councilman,
When-
I'm gonna finish. Go ahead.
This time of year, we have to work overtime to keep up on the grass because of the season it is in. We were not allowed to work overtime. Then when you have a rain day on top of that, where you do not have a day of cutting grass, it took another day out. Usually on a bad week, if we had 80% of the grass cut in the city per week, that was a bad week because we tried to get it every week. It's been taking us 2 weeks to cut the grass because of current conditions that were going on. The mayor's office has lifted some overtime for us. We're trying to catch up on it. Yes, it looked bad. There were a lot of extenuating circumstances, but we're doing our best we can with what we have and the time we have to do it. This is grass grows really fast. You guys can probably cut your grass every 3 to 4 days because it's growing so quick. I cut my grass yesterday. It was 8 days. I filled up 2.5 garbage cans, and I have a small lot. We are doing our best we can with what we have. Yes, it looks bad, but there was extenuating circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what. You made a comment here a few weeks ago about how poor our ordinance director was. I'm telling you, you're poor at your job too.
Okay, Councilman.
Councilman,
Because he was doing better at cutting
Come on, guys,
grass.
point of order, man. Come on.
Not a point of order.
I know.
Come on.
but that's a conversation to have privately. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
so we actually, we're gonna go back and, actually, we talked about it today, putting a schedule together. And, we need to forecast for the whole summer, just to see what, which building is going to be cut at what day and the time. So this is something that our chief of staff and I, we're going to be working on and be passing it to DPW.
Somebody needs to be called in to fix that ASAP.
Okay.
We can't have residents coming here, looking at that, and have them expect to keep their lots kept up, and ours can't be kept up.
Yeah, we're going to be working on a schedule. Just make
Bunch
sure
of
that-
baloney, the way this city looks like.
Thank you.
And nobody cares.
Any other council members?
Council Chair.
Councilman Constant.
Thank you. I want to wish everyone a good weekend and have everyone remember our fallen veterans on Memorial Day. I also want to reiterate, there's no discussion at all about anyone building houses, developing the golf course. Any such plan would have to go through the mayor and council, and there's nothing contemplated. I think all of us on the council are all dedicated to make sure that the golf course stays a green space, golf course or some other recreational facility. But it's important that our council act in a business-like fashion during these volatile times. There's so much going on. We try to come to a consensus on issues and get our work done. I'm glad to see we got the budget passed and enacted, and good job for everyone who worked on the budget, especially our comptroller, David Sabuda. So, thank you, Council Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Ahmad.
Just want to make it short. I want to urge Corp Council to make sure send that letter to the waste company, and if not this evening, hopefully tomorrow morning. And our city and our nation owes a debt to its fallen heroes that we can never fully repay. I hope everybody can thank our veterans and have a safe holiday weekend.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman, go ahead.
I'd like to say something nice at this point. I'd like to compliment Tom Roscoe and Tifa for what they've been doing for the city. They have helped us out with the libraries, with lighting, with sidewalks, all kinds of things. And I really think you guys are owed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other members of the council? All right,
Council
next
Chair?
up. Yes, Councilman.
I know I spoke once already, but I feel bad about what happened. The reaction of Mr. Issa, only thing I'm doing is to try to keep the golf course a golf course. I'm not trying to limit him to anything he can do under the rules. And I mean, you know, all due respect to him, he's an honorable person, but that was, you know, the actions didn't justify, my comments and my motivation didn't justify that outburst. You know, like I say, you know, I respect him a lot, but all I'm doing is trying to keep the golf course a golf course. And that's wrong. Anybody doesn't think that's a good idea, you know, raise your hand. I mean, that's all I'm doing. I mean, that's the only thing I'm doing. I'm not bashing anybody. You know, I'm just representing the residents of Dearborn Heights.
Okay.
Thank you. I'd like to say that.
Thank you, Councilman. Next up is announcements from city officials.
Council Chair.
Mr. Mayor?
So a few things. I'll also be, as Councilwoman said,
Mayor, you got it.
Councilwoman said, you know, keep it positive. So today we had a meeting with Eagle. You know, that's some of the stuff that we discussed is both the Ecorse Creek and the Rouge. Try to figure out what we can do. There's, you know, we have our hands tied, you know, with a lot of restrictions, you know, both by the state and also the county. So with Eagle, they spend at least 2 hours here today. You know, we went over a lot of items, you know, and thanks to both Mr. Deeb and also Mariana for making it happen. So we have a lot of ideas were pitched, and hopefully we can get some of it to materialize. Also, obviously, you know, Memorial Day weekend. You know, one of the things is just people just take a pause. You know, moment of silence. You know, to respect the ones that have fallen, and with you know, I know I've lost a few friends over the years. You know, people I served with, and this is very, you know, emotional for all of us. And so we have two events, right now. I'm not really sure about the Dearborn Heights event, at the STIP post. They're still trying to work something out, but I know in Dearborn, I know a lot of residents from Dearborn Heights actually attend the Memorial Day Parade, where the Dearborn Allied War Veterans Council puts it together. It's actually the largest parade in Michigan and the fourth largest in the U.S. So everybody's invited to come to the Memorial Day Parade. It starts on Schaefer, and it goes westbound to the library, and soon after, it starts at...
Isn't it the other way around?
No, they reversed it a few years ago.
Oh, they did, okay.
So we have cremains. We will have a funeral procession first. Starts about 9:30 in the morning. As soon as the procession goes through, then we'll start the parade at 10 o'clock, and we'll have at 12 o'clock, the ceremony starts. We have a general that will be the guest speaker. He's the Grand Marshal. And also, there's going to be a lot of veterans events. There'll be tables, the VA, and there's other veteran resources that will be set up over there at right behind the library.
And that's Monday, what time?
Monday, if you're going to be in the parade, you can actually go park in any street between Schaefer, and it's on Michigan Avenue, so between Schaefer and just west of Greenfield, by
what
the
time?
Centennial Library. The funeral procession starts at 9:30 in the morning, and after the funeral procession goes through, then the parade actually begins at 10 o'clock in the morning.
So that's basically right around the old City Hall in Dearborn.
Yes, so that's where it'll start. So you can park at any street. You can park at
They have a parking structure behind the old City Hall.
yes,
too.
that or also if you can park at World Headquarters, Ford World Headquarters across the street, because the library don't go there. It's going to be jam packed, so nobody can park there. So it's a good parade. If you just come and pay respect, pay tribute to the veterans, the ones who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Also, I want to thank some of the team members for putting this budget together. I know Mr. Sabura, Mariana, and Margaret Hazlett, our HR director. They work a lot of hours. Most weeks, 7 days a week. Sometimes 15, 16 hours a day to put this budget together. They really worked hard. And Mr. Sabura is actually not A+. He's he's triple A+ to me, because I've seen some of the work he's done, and I thank him for that, and I thank all the staff that contributed to this. Thank you. And also, I'm sorry, Memorial Day, there's no trash pickup, so it's going to be delayed one day. So don't put your garbage out on Memorial Day. So they're going to be as
Do all neighborhoods get delayed one day? Or
It's going to
just-
be one day, like we've done in the past.
Okay.
So whoever gets picked up on Monday, put it on Tuesday, and the ones on Friday on Saturday.
Okay,
They will be picking up on Saturday for the Friday pickups.
okay. So as per the mayor's request, let's take a moment of silence for our fallen heroes. Thank you, and thank you for their service. Any other announcements from city officials?
David? I can let her go first.
I'm sorry?
She can go first.
Okay.
Okay, all right. I just want to remind everybody that we have the Spirit Festival coming up June 8th through the 12th. We've got a lot of great things coming up. We've got Thursday night, we've got Bassam Salal and his band. Friday night, we've got Magic Bus, which brings back the Woodstock era. Saturday night, Steve King and the Diddleys. And then Sunday, we're ending with Motown, Denise Davis and the Motor City Sensation. So it's going to be a really nice week. We've got our discounted coupon on Wednesday night. You get $5 off a wristband. And we've got all kinds of other activities. I think I put flyers in your box, so you have those. And it's got a schedule on the back of the flyer. We also have flyers out for our coupons. So if you want to bring that in with you Wednesday, you can actually get that $5 off too. I would also like to give a shout out to Mr. Ali Deeb. He actually saved us a lot of money at the Richard A. Young Center, about $44,000. So I was very, very pleased with that. And I wanted to make sure everybody knew it and that he is worth his weight in gold. So, thank you.
He saved the city a lot of money throughout, so yes, thank you. Our treasurer, go ahead, please.
Just one of many for Mr. Deeb. Good job.
Good evening, and I am speaking as the city treasurer this evening. I would like to, the purpose is to get clarification from the council body, legislative advice, if you would. In particular, before I do that, though, I want to thank the mayor, corporate counselor Gary Miyake, as well as our comptroller regarding warrants in section 8.9 of the charter. Again, I'm looking for your legislative advice. I know there's council members, including you, Council Chair, Councilman Constant, Councilman Muscat, who have addressed this over the past year and have mentioned different parts of this and the importance. This evening, you approved the budget. You approved the budget by line items, the general ledger line items, as our comptroller, Mr. Sabuda, had alluded to and mentioned many times during budget discussion. The question I have for you that I'm looking for clarification is when a general ledger account is exhausted or depleted, as a council body, because you control the purse strings of the city, do you want that coming back to you for each of those line items when they're exhausted to approve funding more appropriations to it before we issue a warrant?
I would say yes.
Yes.
Do we have anybody else?
Let's get the comptroller up.
Well, I'm asking you. I'm not asking the comptroller. And I had a legal opinion from Mr. Miyake. We talked about we would revisit this because Mr. Miyake shared something a year ago, which hopefully we can revisit with the council chair's blessing and the council body. But when I read section 8.9, it clearly states, no warrant shall be drawn upon the treasury after the fund from which it should be paid has been exhausted, and if such warrant shall be drawn, it should be voided. I just, as treasurer, was sworn by oath to uphold the charter, and I know the mayor, we talked about this, and he does too. We take that seriously, and I just want your legislative advice.
But haven't we in the past did a budget amendment to put money into different accounts because of that?
You would, and as the comptroller had mentioned, when you do budget amendments, it should not just be at the end of the fiscal year. It should be as it happens,
Well,
right?
we have done that.
Well, okay, I had a situation this week where an account general ledger was exhausted. When I get checks, which is considered a warrant, it's an interchangeable word, I always verify the general ledger is a positive. I verify that the department had signed the invoice, because that's all required under this section of the charter. I had a situation where it wasn't the case. And so I hope that will appear before the council body at your next council meeting, the amendment, but I was instructed to take action and sign the checks today.
Okay, so in fairness,
I
Mr.
just want your
Sabuda, you
opinion.
had something you want to add?
Mr. Chair, thank you for the opportunity. What the council has to realize is when services are rendered, so when the work is done, that's when the budget is affected. So when we ask a vendor to go out into the field, or if we're buying a box of paper, or we are paying a debt issue, that at that point in time is when we are encumbered to pay. Okay? So what ends up happening here in the throes of working through the daily activities of the city, activities happen. And sometimes expenses come in higher than what were anticipated. Then the law kicks in and says, once you know you're going to exceed your appropriation, then at that time, you will amend your budget, okay? So that can happen before the line item is has gone over or after the line item has gone over. And you will see this a lot in construction projects. You'll see this a lot, especially water, sewer, or road projects, where they open up the road, or you're working on a building and they open up the building, and voila, there's more work that has to be done. Okay, so you're going to finish that project, but you're also going to amend your budget in order to do that work. So there's nothing in the law that says that you cannot amend after the fact, but you must amend.
So
And
just
once,
to get a plain English clarification, you're saying the amendment wouldn't happen until you're actually paying the bill versus, that's a key thing that I want to clarify, versus when, so let's say we agree to, I don't know, put in a new street. You're saying that amendment wouldn't happen when we agree to do it as a body or as an administration, it's when it's actually being paid. Is that what you're saying?
sometimes that happens. Yes, it can go either way. Okay, so you plan and you do your best to appropriate, and I congratulate the council on a magnificent budget, $118 million. But there will be changes. Things will happen into the field, and at the end of the day, what ends up happening? There could be a mispost to the line item. Okay, and then there's an investigation, and an adjusting journal entry. So what ends up happening here is sometimes the paperwork has to catch up. But make no mistake about it, when the work is done, that's when the budget is affected. Thank you, Mr.
We all
Chair.
set? Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah,
Corporation Counsel, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to just provide a little context with respect to this, at least from my perspective. I received various communications from the city treasurer and from Mariana, and I spoke to the mayor yesterday, and this pertains to, I think, like 4 or 5 bills that are like a couple $100 or something along those lines.
There's 3.
Okay.
There
So.
was 3 bills.
Right. So essentially, part of the question here was under Section 8.9, and if you recall, we had discussion, we were supposed to have a study session on this that pertained to the idea of the mayor being able to, between meetings, cover an expenditure up to $1,500.
Correct.
And my statement had been, this has been done for so long as I have been doing work for the city, that it appears that that particular part of Section 8.9 had been complied with, but we have no record that it has been complied with. And it could have been in a council motion, it could have been in something that it would take literally, potentially weeks to look through records to find that. So what I had indicated was it appears that there is a very high probability that that has been complied with. But the council really needs to deal with this issue. I spent a bunch of time putting together a proposed policy with respect to this, to clarify it. There was supposed to be a council study session with respect to this, and so that was the basis for my advice to the city treasurer with respect to this. And I also indicated that, yes, the responsible official should sign off on the amount, as she also requested. But really, with due respect to this honorable body, really, you need to address this issue, because these things are going to just constantly come up, and the administration and the treasurer need to have some clear guidance with respect to this issue. The issue with respect to the exhaustion of the line item looked like one of those issues where essentially it could be considered to be covered by fund balance. And so
Because it was under
that was the point.
1,500, correct?
I'm sorry?
Because it was under 1,500, correct?
Yes. Okay. Well, from my perspective, that is correct. Perhaps not from the perspective of, as a matter of fact, the chief of staff and I had a discussion that went kind of back and forth for a bit, and I did not necessarily say, I'm going to agree with you. I will get something out to you by the time I go off to my depositions all day today, namely tomorrow was what I said, but namely today, out in Sterling Heights, which is what I did, and I believe that's what is kind of prompting some of these issues. So to help you with the context, but essentially, in my view, that $1,500 threshold and the ability to go through general fund is what it is. I know Plant Moran is basically taken kind of like, well, if it's an improved budget. I disagree with that based on the wording of the city charter, and I've stated that all along. I think it requires authorization by this body, but this body's got to end up actually dealing with the issue. I mean, you should have a study session, and if there are certain things that are incurred expenses that have been taken care of, if your honorable body says, those we consider to be something you can pay up to $200,000 so we don't blow a bond payment, then that should be spelled out, and then it can end up being in the clerk's office and everyone can know what the standard is. But right now, we're kind of trying to do the best we can based on things that have been done for decades but are not necessarily specifically authorized.
Okay. And I agree with your assessment on that, and I do recall you mentioning that the $1,500 threshold was just the way it's always been done, and it continues to be done, but it's not nothing formal. So I would,
or if I may, it may have been done formally,
But
and
there's
I
no
would tend,
record
but
of
we
it.
don't know.
Right, proof of it, whatever.
Yes.
So with the council members here, and Treasurer, I'm going to let you speak, but if you just give me a second.
Go
Just give
ahead.
me 1
I'm sorry.
second.
Sure.
Madam Clerk, if you could put it down for the next maybe available time that we have a study session available. And then this one. So we'll talk tomorrow morning and set an exact date and time, but if you don't mind putting that so I don't forget the next day. Yeah. And then we'll go ahead and set a study session for this, just to clarify, because it seems a little more complex than what I anticipated.
And
Madam
just to
Treasurer,
wrap
go
it
ahead.
up, thank you, because that's what I wanted to hear. I want the council body to work through this with us. I need to know that expectation. Again, as Corporate Counselor Miyake mentioned, based on precedent, this is how it's always been, but that doesn't mean it's always correct, okay? And I'm not disputing the services rendered should not be paid. I never said that. What I said was the general ledger for that account is exhausted, and the council body should vote on that to, appropriate it. And when it comes to road projects, normally that's a change order before you issue the warrant. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. Any other? Yeah, we got to minimize this. This is getting carried away. We got to keep it to a minimum, please. Any other members of the administration?
Resident Tom Wenzel, 2 Lane Street.
Okay, if you don't mind.
I want to thank the other residents for letting me get ahead of them here.
No, I know, but just, if you don't mind, Councilman, that would be on the public comments, and I will allow you to speak.
I'm a resident of Dearborn Heights.
I understand it, but I will allow you during the public comments. Let's finish the administration.
Oh, okay.
No, we got to finish the administration. Is there anybody else from administration that has any announcements? Go ahead.
Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. First off, I want to announce that our summer reading program is right around the corner, and starting this upcoming Wednesday, our activity box sign-up will start. You want an activity box delivered to your house? Make sure to sign up on our website, www.dhtcl.michlibrary.org, starting Wednesday, June 2nd. Next, join us Thursday, June 9th from 6:30 to 8:30 at Carolyn Kennedy Library for a program on the value of sleep. I need more of it myself. Getting a good night's sleep is incredibly important for your health. Join us if you want to discuss the stages of sleep and how you can improve your sleeping habits and thus your health. Also, Friday, June 10th at 3 to 4:30 p.m. at John F. Kennedy Jr. Library, we're having a Father's Day Bingo. Join us for a family Father's Day Bingo for all ages. New games begin every half hour. Registration is required 313-791-6050 or jfkreference@gmail.com. And speaking of Memorial Day, finally want to bring some attention to some historical places in our city that are going to be getting some attention this fall. The Little Red Schoolhouse and Ann Arbor Trail, about that way, is the resting place of a historical figure called Thompson Maxwell. Recently, the Sons of the American Revolution have requested putting a plaque in the cemetery at their cost for his contribution to the American Revolution and his other contributions throughout history. He presided over the first governmental meeting in this area, in this entire area. While I was chewing on that, and they've called upon me to write the placard. I got a call from the Boston Tea Party Museum confirming that they now officially recognize that Thompson Maxwell was also a part of that event as well. So he was a part of the Boston Tea Party, and they also want to add a plaque this fall as well. So it's kind of neat stuff. Those are nationally recognized organizations that will have this city on their radar, which is a good thing. And I also continue to do stuff for the golf course as well, which also has a lot of stuff. Huh? Which? Oh, yeah, he was, I don't think he was on the boat. From what I understand, he was involved in the logistics of it. He was like riding wagons and stuff. I don't know. So logistics are very important and stuff like that. So anyway, that's all for now. So thanks for your time and see you at the library.
Thank you.
Always do a great job, Mike. Thank
All
you.
right. Before we begin with the public, any other announcements?
I sit down anymore. I got an announcement, not a public comment.
Mr. Chair, the treasurer is sitting on 3 checks. The vendors are expecting to be paid.
Okay,
They've been mailed? Very good. Okay, so we're fine.
okay, thank you. All right, and last but not least, from our administration, Hassan Jamal.
We have a point right there.
And me too.
You
can do
come
the
up as
story.
an administrator? Go ahead, absolutely. I thought you were coming up as a resident. I'm sorry.
So do you want me to do just the dates and then do the statement afterwards, or the statement for the commission
So
now?
whatever the commission, you can do it now.
Okay.
And then as a resident, I'll have you come back
I don't
again.
have nothing for a resident.
Okay, so go ahead.
All right, so speaking as the Vice President for the Community and Cultural Relations Commission, want to say congratulations to Najat Janoon. Like everybody else that was nominated, you're going to be awesome. So everyone else that was nominated would have been great candidates as well. Like the chairperson pointed out, you are welcome to attend our meetings. They are not like a cult. You can just come on in. It's every month at 7 p.m. You do not need to be a voting member. Rachel will tell you we are very inclusive to the audience. And I know we don't always show this at council meetings, but overall, the council and the administration are very supportive of our work. Our issues have been mostly related to the commission and the administration being new pretty much at the same time. And our commission is very active. We pretty much hit the ground running. As a commission, we wanted to be clear that the type of commission we are, and in our message, love over hate. So our upcoming events are June 2nd at 7 p.m. Carolyn Kennedy Library is our standing meeting. On June 4th, 2022, it's our annual Pride Garden Planning event at City Hall. It's in partnership with the Dearborn Heights Library. We appreciate Director McCaffrey wherever you went.
Right up front center over here, Mr. Mike McCaffrey, always going to
Oh, he's right next to me. And then on June 17th, our Juneteenth gala event, which is a first year annual event, is going to be at Henry Ford College. The tickets are $50 a piece. That event is what pays for our June 19th event, which is the free community festival that everyone is talking about. So this year, we're introducing the new items of zip line, bounce houses, and face painters at this event, and we're moving it to the Richard A. Young Center this year from 1 to 4 p.m. on Sunday, June 19th. And we wanted to thank the fire department for volunteering to do the water cage at that event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie.
Thank you so much. Leslie, please tag me on Facebook. I know you already sent me the Facebook things. Tag me on it, though. Because it tried to make me open up on a different internet. I didn't know my password to my Facebook. Just tag me in it, please. Everybody should share the gala.
And by the way, Leslie, it's a pretty cool shirt. I don't know where you got it, that Dearborn Heights shirt, but it's pretty cool.
Made it.
Oh, is that what it is? All right.
David?
All right.
I still have announcements also.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Okay, I've got 2 important announcements. Tomorrow, on the 25th, the Ecorse Creek will have their monthly meeting, 6 p.m. And Ali Deeb has agreed to be there. Hopefully, we'll find out the latest things going on with the Ecorse Creek. And I thank Mr. Jamal for that as well. It's at Westwood Community School District, 3335 South Beach Daily, 6 p.m. And we also have a very important meeting for the South Dearborn Heights Civic Association this month. Thursday's meeting on the 26th, 7 p.m., same location. We will be interviewing a greet and meet for the 3 Democratic candidates for the 15th District, the House of Representatives. The Republican candidate was also invited, but he's out of town until September. So that would be a good opportunity to come and meet these people, so you'll know maybe who you want to vote for come August and November. And that's at 7 PM. Any other questions, you can call me.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Any other members of the administration?
We got Mr. Jamal on Zoom.
Yes.
All right, Hassan Jamal, go ahead. Is this an announcement, Mr. Jamal?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Again, good afternoon. Let's back to the fact. One of the fact check is like to respond to you.
We can barely hear you. You gotta talk loud.
One of the fact check is like to respond to you, Honorable Chair, regarding ARPA money. I like to make sure when you state something, it should be within the parameters of the regulatory,
You're freezing.
not a free grant to be
Thank you.
to be spent. It's very limited in scope. It is infrastructure, included water and sewage, and
We can't hear you.
and any other related.
Let him finish.
And any
You're freezing.
I think we lost him, Council Chair.
ARPA, that's what ARPA is about. And the chief of staff already completing to put a bid out to hire a consultant to manage and coordinate with the county the project. Number two, fact check. The ARPA allows up to $10 million to be used by the city budget. They only prohibited the pension and pay for debt payment. You can't pay it for the bond. You can't pay to cover the pension.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Regarding the fact check,
He's freezing.
regarding this particular 8.9, very important. I tackled that last year under the hat when I was the compliance director for the budget. This is a misconception. $1,500, it is about the bid process. Anything above $1,500 must be competitively procured. It has nothing to do with 8.9, period. I says that with very complete confidence. Number two, the 8.9 doesn't talk about payment. It talks about authorization of payment by the council and by the mayor and by the treasurer. The mayor has under the charter. You, the
Okay.
council, cannot change the charter.
Okay,
Please
Mr.
let me
Director,
finish, Council.
just
Please
to be-
let me finish. It's very important. We spent a lot of time last year about this, and there's
Okay.
still misconception
Mr.
out there.
Mr. Director, we said this would be announcements. This one's not an announcement. If you remember, I'm
But
gonna
I'm
set,
responding-
I'm gonna set a study session for this because between the treasurer, our chief of staff, our administration, the controller.
I
there's a-
understand.
I know,
Let
but
me
Mr.
finish this for
Director,
1 second.
there's a lot
1
of
second.
complexities. This needs a study session, so I'm not
There's
gonna do a
no
study session
complexity.
today.
Follow the charter. Don't
Okay, I know, but
complexity.
we will discuss that at the study session. And myself and the Madam Clerk are gonna set a study session for this for ASAP as soon as there's an opening.
Thank you.
Yeah, nobody can change the charter. The council cannot change the charter. The public can change the charter.
Yes,
Right.
this is correct. He
Thank
is
you.
absolutely correct.
The charter doesn't limit the mayor to approve anything the mayor
Okay.
think or believe it's necessary to approve. $1,500 or $1.
Right.
This is a myth.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other announcements from
Thank you.
city officials? Okay, hearing none. Next up is public comments. You will have 3 minutes to come up and speak. I'm sorry? Yes,
Zoom
we'll do
first.
Zoom first. Thank you, Leslie. All right. Anybody on Zoom that would like to have a public comment? You will have 3 minutes, and you will state your name, city, and street.
There's
No address, please.
There's no hands.
Oh, Cass,
No
I think,
hands.
is on there.
There's no hands up.
Yeah, but nobody else is, you don't see anybody with their hands up, do you?
No.
Okay?
This gentleman wasn't talking.
No, we're gonna go ahead and go here. We're gonna go ahead and go in the audience.
I'll let you
okay?
know if somebody pops their hand up out of nowhere.
Please, thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
next up is in the audience. Anybody would like to come up and speak?
Well, Cass, I think, had his hand up, but he put it down.
Tom
Councilman,
Wenzel,
to
I'm
be
a
fair,
resident
yeah.
of Dearborn Heights.
Are you speaking as a resident or as a councilman?
I'm a resident of Dearborn Heights, yes.
Speaking as a resident. But
To Tulane Street. First of all, I'd like to thank Treasurer Lisa Hicks Clayton, Leslie Winless, Director McCaffrey, and all the directors and all the employees of Dearborn Heights. I wish there was an award to give every one of them because they're keeping this city going. It's moving along, it's not a snail pace, it's not a sprint. It's moving along, there's things going on, but, we're moving along, and God bless all of you guys for sticking in there and doing your jobs, hanging in there. Thank you so much. But earlier, I was part of the Ecorse Creek cleanup and rain garden maintenance, and the councilman failed to mention two very important sponsors. He felt really bad, I bet, for not mentioning them, but he's going to do it right now. He wants me to do it. But VIP Car Wash and Plant Moran have been with us for years, and I want to thank them, make that publicly known. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you for the time, Council Chair.
you're welcome.
You need my name?
I'm sorry, just a quick clarification. Madam Clerk, it's 2 minutes or 3 minutes? 3, that's what I thought.
Oh, I was giving out two. Sorry, guys. I wasn't rushing anybody.
You
I'm
need
sorry.
my name?
Yeah.
Yes,
You
just
don't
name,
know it by now?
name,
Walter J. Solivay.
I'm
You guys
born-
should all know me by now.
That's right.
And
City
I feel like
and
Freddy
street name.
Krueger, I'm back. And I really got a kick out of the librarian guy. He was pretty funny.
okay,
And I
please
just want
state
to say that
for the,
I was glad to see a little fire in your inners there when you were talking about the way our beautiful city is beginning to look. And I'm back again with the same problem, with the same property, on the same corner of
Okay.
Highview and West Warren.
sir, if I could stop you for just a sec, please, for the record, city you live in and street name.
Dearborn Heights.
And what street?
Highview.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Anyhow, as I was saying, this corner is looking like Mayor Lightfoot's Chicago. All right, in my opinion. It is a sty, a pigsty. You have EPA violations, you have trucks parked out there, and if I may approach briefly, I can just show you something here. The front of the store is a warehouse for their stockpile of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so this particular
This has been
business,
going on. Have any of you guys
I've gone back
driven
there.
by that?
I have.
Have you driven behind it?
Yes, I have.
It's
So,
a sty.
so,
Would you disagree? Come back to the podium.
go ahead.
Would you disagree with me?
So I did,
It's a pigsty back there.
there's definitely some challenges back there.
8 months was, when was November's election? That was the last time I was in here. And that wall is not built up to code. Nothing's been done since last November, actually October. I'm not seeing any change.
So I received an email on that particular property, went over there, drove by it myself to see it, and yes, there was some challenges, and I let ordinance know to go by there again, and
Nothing's happening, brother.
Hold on, quick second. Director Disharoon, just make sure you're listening on this, and I'll allow you to comment in a second. Go ahead.
Nothing's happening there. If anything, it's getting worse. And have you ever smelled when they're cooking there? I swear to God, they're using their trash to cook the food they serve in that place. It stinks
Okay,
that
point
bad
of
out
order,
there.
if you don't mind, sir, but go ahead.
That's my opinion. I'm
Sure.
sorry, I'm upset. I'm just as upset as a car wash guy, but I'd like to keep it a little more downplayed. And I'm not going to storm out of here. The fact is that the place stinks. It's horrible when they're cooking in there. And, like I said, last October, I brought this same subject to the table, and I'm living there still, and I'm still seeing the same stink and crap and garbage.
Sure, I can appreciate it, sir.
That's my-
And I do understand your concern, absolutely. Director Disharoon, if you don't mind, do you have the particular property? If you're not sure which one it is, call me, I'll be more than happy to clarify for you. But it's a business on Warren Avenue near Highview, if you don't mind having,
It's right next
somebody
to
from
the
your
Dearborn
department.
Heights liquor store. The Dearborn Heights liquor store keeps their stuff
Yes, they do.
as good as a business can. That whole alley behind there, busted up pallets, busted up coolers, cars with flat tires, commercial vehicles parked on the ground, no, nothing underneath it, all the stinky oil and diesel fuel leaking out of it, going into the ground. So I get it. I made my point. You guys are funny tonight.
Thank you.
Let's give
So
City Council
Director Dishroon, either if you want to make a comment,
spoke.
or if
Me
you don't
and you
mind,
spoke.
please looking into that.
Yeah.
One quick second. Director Dishroon?
Thank you. He's here. He's got his hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, if you could unmute him, please.
He's unmuted. Just speak, Bill.
Director Dishroon, go ahead. Do you want to comment on this, or do you want to look into it tomorrow, please?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm
Yes,
sorry.
we can.
I've got a horrible signal tonight, so I'll try to scream. I believe I know which property this gentleman is talking about. I believe.
You froze, Bill.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Director, you're freezing up. If you don't mind, please looking into this and getting back with the administration on this.
Thank you.
Will do. Will do.
But somebody's paying rent someplace to somebody.
Okay. The director says he'll look into it. Please do, Director. And call me tomorrow if you'd like. Your internet connection is bad. Call me tomorrow if you'd like. I'll let you know which property it is. But thank you, sir. Next up, are you speaking as a councilman or as a resident?
Thank you, Council Chair. Resident Ray Muscat, Havelock Street.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to apologize for my rant. Before, in the past, I used to apologize. This city looks like hell. It looks like hell. And it's us. Us. We're the elected officials. And I'm sorry, Mr. Miyake, what we've done in the past doesn't work. It hasn't worked in 20 years. I even had an argument with the former mayor where his bushes are 8 feet tall, 10 feet tall, when they're supposed to be 6 feet tall. And it starts with us, the elected officials, the people who work here. And if we can't keep up our own property, we sure the hell can't expect the residents to keep up theirs. But I'll tell you what, residents, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You got $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes without grass being cut. $500,000 worth of cars in your driveways, and your home looks like hell. I go down Wilson, and it's atrocious. That's the showpiece of the center of the city. Looks like hell. It's either laziness or I just don't care. I don't know which one it is. Okay? Like I said, I've driven to people's homes who've sat on this council, people who have worked here, and their homes look like hell. Okay? And that's just ridiculous. I moved into the city back in 1968, lived in a beautiful neighborhood in Detroit. Within 1 year, it was horrible. That's what this city is turning out to be right now. Right now, that's what it's turning out to be. Okay? And I'm tired of looking at it. I mean, if you've got weeds, fine, but keep them cut, okay? People aren't even trimming around a fire hydrant. I see grass 3 feet tall around fire hydrants. A fire hydrant that may save their home, their neighbor's home, or even their life. They won't even shovel the snow around one. You tell me what the problem is, okay? And it takes you for how long to prosecute somebody, Mr. Miyake? How long does it take? And I don't believe it's being done properly or in a timely fashion. That's my take on it. Thank you, Councilman Mulbigdoon. I'm going to stop right now at 30 seconds. Thank you very kindly, sir.
Okay, any
Just for
other
the record,
members?
I was just doing my job.
Absolutely, you were. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other members of the audience? Come on up.
To ask for 30 seconds more.
I'm not gonna be honest with you. I'm
don't raise it at
I'm the
30
timekeeper,
seconds.
and I'm not giving up 30 seconds. You got 3 minutes on the clock. Let's get it going.
I'll give you 30 seconds. Go ahead.
You're becoming dictator now. Anyway, I like to share another story. I'm becoming the storyteller in the city.
That means you're getting older.
That's true. In 2017, just before.
Oh, that's right.
So-
Yes, name and address.
You got me on this. 354 Rosemary, Zuhair Abdelhak.
Dearborn Heights.
Dearborn Heights, yes. 2017, a very famous real estate agent in the city called me to his office in the morning, and he said to me, I like to discuss something with you about our city. Oh, I said, so what is it? He said, I just want you to know the mayor is on board on this issue. I said, fine, but what is the issue? There was a deal going on. They want to sell the ice arena and all the land around it to put luxury homes, $1 million homes in it. I asked him, where our kids going to go if we sell it and we do this? He didn't have an answer. So I had, during the election, to send mass mail about this issue to the voters so they know what the administration might do. So when Mr. Tom Wenzel brings this subject, because of the history I have in my mind, I sympathize with him, and I think he's 100% right. And I hope you guys take it to heart. Even I am, on the other hand, very unhappy the way the golf course was put out for bidding. But at the same time, I'm a very pragmatic person. I know probably more than some people on the council or maybe the administration about the golf course. There is so many problems in that golf course. That's why I went on Facebook and I asked the administration to work with Mr. Wissam Isa and to give him the time to do the right thing so we open it properly. I know that the golf course is not going to open this year. If anybody tells me different, then they don't know what's underground and what's going on that land. I hope that the administration and Mr. Isa comes back and do the right things for the residents. And I understand the golf course must stay golf course. It will never be built on it, and I'll be the first one to raise hell if anybody wants to put homes on that golf course. But at the same time, it's not financially and economically feasible for anybody to spend the $3 to $5 million in that project unless they extend the banquet. They do something on this side, the east side of the golf course. So let's be pragmatic. Let's move forward and forget what mistakes happened in the past. The last thing I want to say, previously it did happen, Mr. Mayatki, if you remember, when the budget was ran by $30,000 on your side, we didn't have money to pay you. The previous administration waited until the new budget came in to put money in it. So please, anytime there is line item which doesn't have enough money, bring it to the city council. It is your responsibility and the controller not to pay anything unless they approve it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You have 15 seconds left. You done?
And for full disclosure, before people start to think it's me, it was not myself that was speaking with you this meeting that you're referencing.
Well, he said a great, unbelievable,
Huh?
Honorable real estate.
Yeah, he said it's none of us. So I'm just stating it out there because anytime something is mentioned, people automatically think it's me. Thank you.
Well, he said the best. And
Okay, guys, let him.
definitely the best.
Bilal Darwish. First, I'm going to speak on behalf
Wait,
of myself.
you guys say the street name and city.
Bilal Darwish, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to speak on behalf of myself, and then I'm going to speak on behalf of the Dearborn Board of Realtors. So on behalf of myself, Old Colony, Dearborn Heights. On behalf of myself, I'm going to speak on regarding the golf course. I hope you guys could look at that as something that can generate money. I hope you guys don't do what other cities, surrounding cities, done by making someone like Mr. Isa run away and not come back. Okay? He has ideas that can generate money for the city. You guys are all sitting here crying that we don't have any money. And you had a guy who invested $30,000 of his own money, and you guys just let him go because you guys are worried about building houses. You guys know that to build a house, you got to go to get a permit. The city controls that. You guys know to build a house, you got to go in front of planning. You got to go in front of zoning. Nobody can build a house. So what are you guys worried about? That all could happen down the road. You could put it off. Let the guy work. Let him invest. That's what he wants to do. You guys could do so much with that golf course, and you guys are worried about, can we build a house? Why can't we build a house? And to put a deed restriction on building, who puts a deed restriction on themselves without defining what you can build? That doesn't even make any sense. You need to define exact words, what you can build and not build. Commercial property, can I put a swimming pool? Generate money. Can I put a basketball court? Can I build a gym? Generates money. That's how you define something. I know there's legal words, but that's how it needs to be done. I'm going to stop there on that rant, because I need to read this. Now I'm speaking as Bill Dowish, Realtor, 25636 Ford Road, Dearborn Heights. This is a letter from the Dearborn Area Board of Realtors. This is to the board, to the council, and to the city of Dearborn Heights. This is a letter written by the president of the Dearborn Board of Realtors, Robert Marks. It has been called to our attention of the Dearborn Board of Realtors that some local politicians with political prominence have publicly criticized realtors and continue to publicly smear our reputation. It is understandable if you have bad experience, had a bad experience, that you might be unhappy with one particular person in our profession, but to wreak disdain on the whole profession is unacceptable. It is especially true when it is a local official who you would normally expect to work hand in hand with realtors in promoting the well-being of a community. The realtors in any city are often the first contact with many people with the community.
Your time is up. I'll give you 15 seconds here, Bill. Read it fast.
We are asking that this type of behavior cease and desist immediately. We are also asking that any politician that chooses to take this type of action be immediately censored by his colleagues and or members of any board that is being asked to. If you have any issues with one particular realtor member, we advise you to pursue conversation or take action with that member and not the realtor community as a whole. Dearborn Area Board of Realtors has been a long-standing relationship with the Dearborn and Dearborn Heights area, and we hope that to continue that relationship into the future.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Any other members of the audience? Can you do me a favor, Vince? Because everybody's been pushing the microphone away from them, so we're having a hard time hearing them. If you get it as close as you can to you. Beautiful. Thank you.
Vince, you got 3 minutes.
4,
You want 4?
maybe.
Yes, sir. I'm going to give you 4. You earned it.
Thank you. Vince
So here,
Trepkowski, Columbia Street, Dearborn Heights, Michigan, Wayne County. Wow, shameful. Shameful council. $1.8 million sitting there doing nothing. Mr. Wenzel, if you deed restrict yourself so much, you won't be able to build a brick house on that property. Excuse my French. But just like the other gentleman mentioned, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so let him finish.
Restrictions, whatever, building homes, not building homes, whatever. Meantime, this property sits there vacant, not making any revenue. But yet we spent $1.8 million. And part of this is, blame goes to the council and the administration, I hate to say. The council had no vision or insight of what they wanted for this park or this golf course to be when you wrote up your bid proposals. We need somebody to operate the golf course and get it up and running, but didn't have any vision to put into the bid process what you wanted. Okay? When we took this over from the county, granted, this was the other administration, but part of it falls on this administration too, is that nobody went over there and did an inventory of the products that, or did they do? Do we have an inventory? Okay, we have an inventory. Did anybody make a police report when it ended up missing?
Wait, if you could do me a favor, Mr. Mayor? No, you don't have to, don't answer, but when he's done with his time, then I'll allow you to answer. Go ahead.
All right. These are questions that I have. You know, did anybody make a police report? Why weren't the locks changed when you first took possession of the property? Okay? These are just some of the things that just drive me nuts. And who's to blame? Who's to blame for the damage that's out there right now? You know, we got, what, 9 bridges over that golf course? They have to be inspected. You know, that's going to cost us. When was the last time they were inspected? Anybody know? Anybody? Guess not. The other thing I want to talk about is building and maintenance. You guys might as well make an adjustment to your budget right now. Don't give me that, Mo.
I'm done with this job.
Yeah, you should be. You need to make an adjustment to your budget right now because you don't have enough guys out there to cut grass, not even well enough to maintain these buildings. How many buildings we got, Mike? 11 buildings. How many guys to do that, Mike? 6 guys. How many guys do you need, Mike?
We budget for 8.
You're budgeted for 8. You can't even maintain the outside, let alone the inside of these buildings. I suggest you get somebody to come out here and cut the grass. Or tell Wayne County to come out here and take care of Parkland Park and take some of the pressure off of them. It's ridiculous. And actually, this city is looking pretty shabby. I hate to say it, but I do know, Mr. Mayor, you do got your hands full. And if you, if we've lost this gentleman that's going to take over the golf course, maybe you better start thinking about what you want out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Mr. Mayor?
For the record, Vince, I give you 4 minutes.
One more thing, thank you. Congratulations on your appointment, I wanted to say that. And thank you for acknowledging Jason Mikowski. Last time I saw him was the night he was shot. And that morning, I asked him, what are you doing here? He said, the mayor just lifted the restriction on overtime. I'm going to go out and write traffic tickets for my son's college fund. That was the last thing I talked to him. So thank you.
God rest his soul. Mr. Mayor, the resident had questions in regards to locks. What was it? Right here, I can't remember. Rocks, bridges. Yeah, police report, thank you. I had police, I can't remember why, yeah. Can I answer? Can't hear you.
It's freezing in your mic.
This is a legal issue, Council Chair. I'm not going to comment on it yet, So there's actually a police report, and that's all I'm going to say at this point. And the other thing I'm going to say, Mr. Isa does not have the course, so people need to stop harassing him. He does not have the golf course. It's still under the control of the city. We're still working on the contract, as Mr. Miyake mentioned earlier. We were supposed to have a meeting tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to go right now, but we were almost at the final phase of the writing contract. But I just want to make sure all the residents need to know right now the city has control of the golf course, not Mr. Isa. So stop harassing him. Whoever is harassing him needs to stop harassing him. And the other thing is, he did, out of the goodness of his heart, he spent a lot of money trying to mow the grass, so get some equipment, and he did take care of that, mowing the grass. So, and again, he didn't have to do that because at this point, he does not have a contract.
Correct. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other residents, or, I'm sorry, members of the audience? Well, no, to be fair, you've already spoken, sorry. Come on up.
Mike Blackburn, Arnold Street, Dearborn Heights.
Mike, I'm sorry, I hate to do this to you guys. Are you speaking as a resident or as a member of the city?
Council Chair, I got a quick question for you regarding that. If he was speaking as a employee of the city, that would be under appointments. So could he still constantly?
But
I'm just asking.
No, I get it, because it should be disclosed, because if he's speaking as an employee, now he's giving a perspective to anybody in the audience as a city employee. I want to know if he's giving his own personal opinion or a city opinion, that's all.
He should be as a resident, though.
It's whatever he prefers.
I'm speaking as an employee, but also as my opinion, not anything I say is my opinion. Whether I'm an employee or resident has nothing to do with the administration or council or any other employee.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, my department's shorthanded. Highway department shorthanded, water department shorthanded. The whole DPW shorthanded. Yes, things are falling by the wayside. We are shorthanded. We were handcuffed on overtime because the mayor's job is to worry about the budget. That's what he had to do. That's his decision. Whether I agree with it or not, whether you agree with it or not, that's his decision. He made it. I was dealt a hand. Don't get mad at me because I can only play the cards that are in my hand. Anybody has any problems? I got residents that message me all the time. If on social media, I keep them informed. They're happy because I communicate with them. Anybody has any questions? Feel free to find me. I'm easily available. I'm 51 years old. I've lived in the city 46 years. I went to Crestwood. A lot of people know me. It's not that hard to find me if anybody has any questions. I would like to say to all the DPW workers and the supervisors that work their ass off every single day, thank you. We're shorthanded. They work hard. They've been working harder. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We got one on Zoom first. We promised Zoom.
Yes, we promised we'd get Zoom on.
Well, I think Mariana, her.
Ladies first, go ahead.
Hello. I'm sorry. I've heard this a lot of times, and I've
Okay,
noticed it.
But again, Mariana,
Oh,
let me know if
I'm
you're
speaking as the Chief of Staff for the City of Dearborn
ahead.
Heights, but I am also a resident, Lafayette Street, Mariana Hernandez. So I just wanted to clarify one thing with regards to the overtime. So we never cut out the overtime. Our communication was, please limit your overtime to emergency situations or absolutely necessary work. And this was part of what we noticed early on when we started the budget process, that we noticed that everybody had reached its limit. So again, they were allotted a certain amount in their budget, and then we simply asked the directors to justify any additional overtime that was being used. And every time they have asked, it has been provided. So I just wanted to clarify that. It's not like no one is having overtime right now. They've had their allotted $1 million and some.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mariana. All right,
We got one on Zoom.
next up, we went to Zoom first. We got Vince, okay, there's nobody. Anybody waiting in the audience? Okay, I'm gonna allow the person on Zoom in a sec, but go ahead. No, let's finish the audience, because we started with the audience already.
Mike Mackey, North Martha Street, Dearborn Heights. That was very disturbing what I heard Mr. Miyake say today regarding Mr. Issa. So, Mr. Miyake, I'm hoping that this investigation will be swift and the police can bring those people to justice. You know, threats are not taken lightly and no one is above the law. So let's make sure we take care of that. City Council, I urge you guys to work with Mr. Issa on moving this golf course forward. And I don't think you will have people lined up to take it over, and it definitely won't be me, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on the record, as I stated to the mayor last week. I almost sent you guys a video regarding the surrounding grass at Elite Sports, the park there. I mean, I took a drive on the golf cart, and I mean, I'm going to see 2 feet of grass at the park with weeds. And then I drive by the rec center, and it's the same thing. I mean, I shouldn't cut my grass and make it look so nice when the city properties around me are, this is sad. If there's not enough workers in the city, please, Mayor, contract the work out, whatever it takes. We need to get this city looking good. And we can't hold people accountable if we can't hold city properties accountable. So I'll leave you guys with this. There's also an electric wire hanging from a light pole. I've talked to Parks and Rec Director about it and to Mr. Blackburn. It could be dangerous. I hope somebody comes out and looks at it right away. I want to congratulate Najah on her appointment, and hopefully Ms. LaPointe will get on there soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to the Zoom.
Keep it swift.
Mr. Alhaj? Go ahead, you have 3 minutes. Please stay. Can you unmute, please?
Speak loud, please.
Okay, you have 3 minutes. State your name, city, and street.
Sam Hodge, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. To my understanding, and I hope not, because I have very good confidence of Mr. Issa and the way he's been running the business throughout Dearborn Heights, one of the most respectful professional businessmen we have in the city. But as I stated last time, it seems like Councilman Winslow kind of got offended. But to be honest with you, I'm the type of people who doesn't really care. I just say the truth and I stick with my gun with it. You like it, fine. You don't like it, too bad. It's shame on me if I know something is going bad and I keep my mouth shut about it that's going to hurt the city. That's shame on me for being quiet on it. Unfortunately, Mr. Winslow has an agenda for the golf course. And let me assure him personally that his agenda is not going to really work. And pretty much the harassment toward Mr. Issa that's been going on and on and on and on, that's got to stop. We have several council members. Pretty much the majority of you guys have visited the golf course, have seen the tragedy that we have at the golf course and the harassment that's going on toward Mr. Issa for him bringing it back alive for a property that's pretty much and if Councilman Winslow would like to know exactly his personal agenda, I would be more than happy to let you guys all know what his personal agenda is. And for the people who are kindly hiding behind their fingers and playing.
You're cutting off.
If Mr. Issa ever wants to back off, he might back off. But let me assure you one thing about Mr. Issa. I have known him for over 20-some years. He was one of the most stubborn businessmen you could ever see. He'll fight it with tooth and nail to make that business run professionally, nice and neatly. And that kind of harassment is shame on us for allowing a council member to keep doing it for a great man like Osama Issa.
We all set, sir?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Council
Thank
Chair, we're allowed to talk back, right, and communicate?
you. Go ahead.
Okay, you can tell all the people my agenda for the golf course, please.
Okay, the councilman, I just want to say it. No, I understand. But in the past, you had concerns about people saying something, so when if I let him on, that's on you. You want him to speak? Okay. I'm sorry?
If he's done something illegal, he should be thrown off the council. If not, he should apologize to him.
Okay. So did you want him to talk?
Yeah.
Okay, Madam Clerk, go ahead. Mr. Hussein El-Haj, the councilman is asking, you go ask him your question yourself.
Hi, Sam. Can you let the residents and everybody here know what my agenda is for the golf course, please?
You really want to open it up to the public?
Yes, please.
You asked for a study session for the golf course, correct?
Wait, Mr. Hussein, you're cutting off badly. You got to speak up. You're cutting off very badly.
Council, can you hear me?
In and out. If you're on a speakerphone, take it off speakerphone.
Can you hear me better now?
A little better, yeah, but you got to talk loud.
Okay. Councilman Winslow, you asked for a study session for the golf course, correct?
Yes, sir. Study
And
session
you
for
want
the golf course, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And you want the public to know what's your agenda for the golf course, correct?
He said you want the public to know your agenda for the golf course. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
When do you want to schedule the study session?
When what?
When is you?
When is the study session that got is?
There's nothing scheduled. Me and the clerk will be speaking tomorrow morning to schedule a study session.
At the study session, I'll be there and I'll have every single person who were involved in the golf course, and they'll tell you exactly what's your agenda.
Okay, you want me to repeat it?
The people that you had conversation with, they'll be present at the council meeting. They'll let you know your agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hussein. Al-Hajj, I'm sorry. Okay. Anybody else in the audience have a comment?
Move to adjourn. Support.
Wait, hold on. Let's make sure those that want to speak. Everybody else is done? Mr. Darwish, I'm gonna give you 20 seconds. Okay, quick 20 seconds.
Council Chair,
Meeting's been adjourned.
No, it's not been adjourned.
Bill Darwish,
Just go ahead.
25636 Ford Road. So I have a friend of mine that him and his family took over a golf course in Bloomfield Hills. It wasn't totally run down like how we are, but it needed work. Just to fix that golf course, and this was an 18-hole golf course, to get it up and running, I mean, it's a gorgeous course now. They spent $13 million of their own money. They bought the course, but $13 million. So just to tell you how much it costs to bring a course back to life.
Okay.
So
Thank
I
you,
just
sir.
wanted the city to know that.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, move to adjourn by Councilman Muscat, supported by Councilman Baydoun. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Yeah, you too.